Snow. President Biden will sign off on a major disaster declaration for the state.
It will give Texans the ability to apply for individual assistance from FEMA.
Abbott says FEMA will help cover any costs not covered by private insurance. Wall Street, the Dow up a fraction, the NASDAQ plus 9. America is listening to Fox News.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're here. It's Freaky Friday, I think. Yes, we are, folks. How are you doing out there? And wait for it. Yep, that was a bit different tonight, boys, eh? Bit different tonight. And now we've lost Scotty on the screen. What is going on here? How are we all doing? I'll get you fixed on the screen, Scott. Don't you worry. I'll get you there immediately. How we all doing?
Where am I, Kev? Where am I?
I don't know
where I am.
I don't know where it all went wrong, Scott. We're down here. We're down here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing fantastic, Mr. Baker.
Now I can copy your camera. You see, we were in a bit of a kerfunkel there before the show, so we're catching up on the fly. Yes, a conundrum. Yes. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Doing good. We're gonna get into some old school tonight, a throwback, if you will. Haven't got into this little juicy topic in a while, mainly because I think it was tainted for us for a little bit, but there are much worse things out there that have tainted things. We're gonna get back into it. And for those of you out there who don't know, I'm talking about Niburu, and we're gonna be talking about the Planet X, Kev.
Would you like me to provide you a little bit of a laugh before we bring on our third musketeer? Today I was over with the very controversial Dr. Kevin McCairn. What a guy. I love him to bits. I really do. But I was watching the chat room, as you do. And I noticed I had a couple of real super fans in there, Scott. Not. And one of them was making light of a time gone by, a simpler time when I used to be into things like Nibiru and Planet X a lot more than we tend to cover it now. And I must admit, I must admit, I giggled when I seen one of my personal lovers out there saying, I remember when Kev Baker used to talk about Planet X all the time. And I didn't want to interrupt Dr. McCairn at the time, so I just waited till the end and I said, well, folks, if you want to catch Freaky Friday later, I'll be getting into Niburu. So I could sense, I could just picture that fan of mine, you know, like the most loyal viewers I have are the ones that hate me, you know. But I could just picture them being exploding,
Well,
you know. I told you
this,
so.
I think this just ties into all the synchronicities that have been happening lately, right? Like you get a troll in the chat room and he brings up the very topic that we're going to be getting into tonight. You know, I mean, it's just
and he obviously or she didn't realize, because they would say, "Oh, that idiot's talking about this tonight." You know, no, they referenced like 6-7 years ago. You know, something like that. That's okay. That's okay. I'm easy. That's water off a duck's back, folks. And listen, it isn't just me and Scotty here tonight, but I had to get that in because it did tickle me. It did. Kevin, Nacy, my brother from another mother. How you doing, man? Welcome back. And that boy, oh boy, am I looking forward to this little presentation that you've been putting together for tonight. How you doing, Kev?
Oh me, oh my, I wonder why we are here, but here we are, particulates of a star, looking wide and far. So is the door ajar to enter that portal, Speculation Island, on the starboard or the port side?
Well, I would contest that a door's a door, because a door can never be ajar. Boom, boom. I know, it was poor. It was poor, right? But there is no door, Scott. There is no jar.
I think Nacy and our buddy Kenneth Webb need to.
Zani Banani donated $1.99 through Super Chat.
Oh, thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
So you were saying, Scott?
I think Nacy and Kenneth Webb need to get together and start some kind of a like rap duo or something like that.
You think so?
I think so. And Nacy is really good with the wordplay, just like Kenneth Webb was.
Can we throw Ryan in as well? Ryan Gable?
Oh,
the three of them, man. A little rap battle going on.
What are we gonna call this? Straight out of Speculation Island?
Straight out of Wu-Ten.
Oh, I like it. I like it. I like it.
Oh, instead of the Wu-Tang Clan, we're the Wu-Tang Clan, just spelt with a W-O-O. See?
I think somebody might have something to say about that. Definitely. But yes, we are going to be getting into Niburu tonight, so I hope you're all doing well out there. Big shout out to everyone over at the home of Freaky Friday, tfrlive.com. Remember to tell everyone about the network. Over 33, yes, 33 different shows to choose from. The Gematrists are going crazy, Scott. They're going wild in the aisles. And listen, I'm a very special type of host, me, because I dish out free dopamine at the start of every Freaky Friday. Whoa.
One Pollination donated $5 Canadian through Super Chat. Star Hole? Or Starge Jar? Who knows? PPP smiles for miles.
Oh, I like it, Polly. I like it. But yes, if you want to get a shout out, your very own name called out on the Wookiee call. I was going to call it the Rookie Wall. That wouldn't have sounded too good at all, no? No. Hey, listen, it's been a long day. But listen, all you have to do is go to tfrlive.com/chat and you can join all the other great people over there. You've got a little moment to do that while I remind people. Let's go out and talk stream live as well. And for the one show of the week, we're simulcasting. So yes, you've got various different ways to catch the show today. As long as you enjoy yourself, that's the main thing. So then,
the Freaky Friday tentacles are spreading. They're touching many different things.
And it only costs you a giggle to get inside.
It doesn't even cost you a giggle. You know, you can giggle if you want, and you can throw things at me at the bottom of the screen if you want as well, folks. It's understandable, I get it. It's okay. It's okay, I'm used to it by now. But listen, special treat today. We've got our very own fellow host on the network, Lucky, over in the TFR chat room. So if you want to hang out with one of the TFR gang, over you go. And we've got another
Cupcake Paper donated $1.99 through Super Chat.
Oh, good question
Will
to
the
start
bad
on.
ETs go back to Nibiru?
Well, there's a good question to start on, and I will come to that after I head on over to the chat room, tfrlive.com/chat. We've got me and Sophia. No wonder people talk about us. We've got Lucky, Bam, Psycho, Dave. 3, 2, 1, touchdown. NASA rover made it. I know, crap joke. Onslow, Waffle Buddy, Carol Mottsinger, Gentle Wolverine. I don't trust that one. All one, Diver Dave, the Hacker, Paul, Unplugged, Jen KU. We've got Outgoing Human, Mysterious Guest, Pondering Legend, I think of Diver Dave again. I don't think I've missed anyone out. Remember when our very own boss man, Mr. Geo, used to sometimes load the chat room with a dodgy name or two, Scott? Do you remember those days?
Yes, and there was a show from days past that the intro actually featured one of those dodgy names that Mr. Geo would put in the chat room, and when Kev would go reading out the names
in my little innocent Scottish accent.
Yes, in your innocent little Scottish accent. And well, is that the reason why you delegated those duties over to Whistles?
Yep.
See, there we go.
You said, you said duties.
It's going to be one of those shows, Kevin. It's going to be one of those shows. But listen, we are ready to set sail, or should I say blast off, an exploration of the solar system, or maybe just outside of it tonight. And like we said in the build-up to this, we even put it out there last week, we're going full Niburu, Planet X. I don't know if it's out there. Hopefully the picture will become somewhat clearer by the end of today's show. But I would imagine this is going to include talk of a lot of space-related topics, especially with the historic mission yesterday. And, you know, did you see the video now that's come by, the picture of it landing there and things like that? Scott, pretty cool, huh?
I've seen the initial photos when it just landed, and it was like kind of the black and white photograph. I haven't seen, I don't know if they put out any high-res photos yet from it, but I'm sure it looks pretty spectacular, dude. And I mean, it's only fitting, you know, we're going to be talking about Niburu and all of these kind of celestial events, these you know, astronomical things going on, and it's only fitting, you know, after this landing of the rover on Mars. And so yeah, it's going to be good stuff. Good stuff, Kev. I'm strapped in. And I'm ready to blast off, man.
Oh, so am I, dude. So let's go back to what we were asked a moment ago by our good friend Cupcake. When Niburu comes back, do the bad ETs go away with it when it goes away and things? Are ETs already here? Are the Anunnaki, or some of them still kicking about waiting for the return?
First of all, I mean, I don't think we. I don't want to get too deep into this because I know Naysay has the presentation, and I don't want to go off a tangent and then have it go completely.
It's a hard question to start with, really.
Yeah. It is a tough question to start with. Maybe we should get into Naysay's presentation and then go from there. But
I think so.
Yeah. Because I think that's
I think it's the best idea, dude. If I come back over here then. Okay then, Mr. Naysay. You and I believe Renzo put together a number of absolutely amazing looking slides for us to look at tonight. But But we're going to be discussing all of them anyway, folks. We'll explain it all if you're listening out there on the radio. Don't worry about that. But Kevin, you were the one that suggested we go into this topic last week, and I know it's something that when you come on the show, on the Kev Baker show as well, we talk about the moon. We talk about space a lot. So I imagine this is something that you probably like to keep up to date with more than me and Scott do. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you've got to say about this today. I'm going to hand it over to you, brother, okay?
That's great. It starts with a hurricane. Well, I guess if we are to guess of what is happening, I don't know. But there's been many, many years of speculation on the end of times, the so-called apocalypse. And when you start diving into that, or spelunking into that portal of the rabbit, you find immediately the infamous Planet X. And then when you look at the Planet X, you ponder, okay, is it X as in the letter, or is it X as in the number? And then you start finding Planet 9. And it is just such a huge plethora when you go into the searches of this thing. So if we jump back in time and we look back into the 50s, all of a sudden you find in these old sci-fi movies and these references to Planet 9 or Planet X. And one of my fondest memories is Godzilla, where they took Godzilla off of the Earth and brought it to Planet X to fight Giga-on, the three-headed dragon. But then I guess we can't touch on Nibiru without bringing up Zecharia Sitchin. Zecharia Sitchin is the one who is so well known about his translation of the cuneiform scrolls that were found in ancient Mesopotamia, Babylon, or Sumer. And in his transcription of these cuneiform things, he came up with the story of Nibiru and Tiamat, where in the history of the solar system, at some moment in time, there was a cataclysm that occurred, whether it be the smashing of planets or the destruction of a planet, causing its core or one of its satellites to take off into space. And every so ticks on the cycle of time, this extraterrestrial entity comes back and visits us. And what happens if such a thing occurs? That's where all the speculation starts going amok. So what would you gentlemen, in your, because I know both of you have talked about this in the past, and I've heard some of those shows, you know,
yeah.
But is it coming? Is it there?
Well, I definitely believe that there is a body of some kind that is in a what you would consider an odd elliptical orbit in our solar system. So basically that means at one point in its orbit, it's passing through and it's extremely close, and then at the farthest point of its orbit, it's extremely far away and hard to see. Comets and bodies like that take the same kind of crazy elliptical orbits around our sun. So then it's a question of, well, what's the cycle of this orbit? You know, how many years does it take for it to, swing out and be at its furthest point and then swing back in and be at its closest point? And isn't the timeline for like Niburu or Planet X or whatever we want to call this body. The number that's been thrown out was what 30,000? Was it 30,000 years or? I can't remember.
That is one of the million-dollar questions, because you find many different assumptions or theories on this cycle. And then we get into the argument of the calendar system. Whose calendar system do we placate to? Our Gregorian calendar, or the ancient people's calendar from around the world.
And another thing that I've thought about and kind of questioned is you see Niburu referenced as having some kind of they say, the Anunnaki is from there. But do we really know for sure that this body actually supports life? Because if we're talking about a miniature black hole, which is another theory of what this could be, I don't see life living in a black hole. Unless we're talking about some kind of form of life that can endure something like that. That we can't comprehend. But other than that, are we just talking about a mini black hole that swings through our solar system every whatever this cycle is, and it wreaks havoc? Obviously, if you're going to have something with that much gravitational pull, it's going to throw things off. It's going to maybe throw some things, shift their orbits and do a lot of weird things, and that can cause just as much cataclysm and havoc. So, is Niburu where the Anunnaki came from? I don't think we really have the answers for that. We don't necessarily know. We're just basing this off of Sitchin's translations, which, you just got to kind of take him for his word. This is just the way he translated it, and I'm not saying Sitchin's wrong, but I'm not saying that Sitchin's 100% correct either. That's just what we have to go on. And so, then you have the stories of like Tiamat and, what was this planet that created the asteroid belt, right? Because, even mainstream science says, well, that used to be a planet. Something happened and that's no longer there. And that gave us the asteroid belt. So what planet was the asteroid belt? Was that the planet that the Anunnaki came from? Right. There's so many, I think, different candidates for where the Anunnaki, or these entities that came to Earth came from. You can't just chalk it to Niburu. There's also talk of, did they come from Mars as well? So I don't know, but I definitely think that there is a celestial body out there that does occasionally, that does on a cycle swing through the solar system, and it creates problems. It creates a chaos in some form or fashion. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I must admit, growing up, I'd heard of like Planet X. I'd heard of talk of that kind of thing, but when I started to go down the rabbit holes, like Kevin says, Sitchin, you come across that quite early. I think the first time I'd really heard it broken down properly probably would have been a Coast to Coast. That was one of the first shows I was really gorging on. And it's really interesting, and I have to agree with near enough word for word what Scott says. I don't know if his translation was absolutely spot on, but then you look back at the history of the planet, and I think we can all roughly agree that at some points or at various cycles, perhaps, a cyclical event brings flooding, brings great changes to the planet. Now, could that be the result of some planetary body coming inbound and then it goes out again on its wild orbit? And we hear how it might not reflect any light, so that's why it's so hard to see. And this isn't all sci-fi stuff, because remember, it was Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown, the astrophysicists that really started to ask the question. If memory serves me correctly, that they're Harvard boffins, Harvard or MIT, one of the two. And the reason that they were starting to look for something out there was because of the perturbations that you see on the outer solar system. So there's something acting on the planets out there. And this is kind of good science because it's how we've found other planets in the past. You can tell something's changing their orbit, even if it's just slightly. So they set out looking for planet 9. It's quite interesting because Mike Brown, if you remember, was the guy that killed Pluto. He actually kind of degraded that. He demoted it from a planet to just some kind of object out there in the Oort cloud. So that meant that any new planet wouldn't quite fulfill the planet 10, as in the number 10, X. But that's really orange. That's irrelevant, you know. The point being, all of the radio telescopes around the world and people that really know what they're talking about, they were frantically trying to find something, but they didn't. And that's why Scott said, you know, well, maybe we're looking at some kind of black hole now. And that's kind of what they're theorizing right now. And we'll see. We'll see. But the point being, before we go to the break, we've got a couple of minutes and then we'll get into Kevin's presentation on the other side. There's absolutely every chance that there could be something out there. Now, can I prove it? Does any of the material that I've ever seen on YouTube go any way to proving it? Probably not. But that doesn't mean I close my mind to the idea, especially when I see big money and big money telescopes and projects set out to look for it, you know?
Exactly. And when I'm sorry, Naysay, but whenever we get back, I think it's important for me and Kev to kind of explain why this topic was kind of rubbished for us, and why we hadn't really dug deep into it recently, but it is something that interests us, and that we do actually, you know, we believe that there's something out there and that there is something to this, but there's been so much that has occurred since all of this kind of, I guess you could say, this topic got popular, that
it became clickbait.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, I think this is good conversation, and yeah, there is something to it. I mean, because we actually have, you know, mainstream science, you know, validating that they think that there's something out there as well. So, I guess we'll see. We'll see what's going on. I'm excited to see what this presentation holds.
Well, it's definitely interesting, especially when you look at these different universities that go into the investigation, and even like Caltech is brought up into it. And, you know, the speculations can go out there, the theories go out there.
Caltech, that was the one. Thank you, Kevin. Good save.
So then as we do our discernment on this, make sure that you come back after the break before Nibiru.
Indeed, we'll be right back. Oh, hang on, why is it not? Okay, come on now. Skype's acting wonky, folks. Hang on, I'm still here. Let me call back Nacy, Kevin, and Scott. Give me 2 seconds, folks. Give me 2 seconds. That was wonky. There we go. There he is. There he is. Now I'll phone the megaphone man. I couldn't hang up there, Scotty boy.
No, that was weird.
That was weird. There we go. You there, Scott?
Yeah, I'm here.
You just went dead quiet. That's us. We're back now, I think. Your camera should come on, I think.
Oh, no, I have it blacked out.
You see, it won't come on then. It won't come on. I'm sitting waiting for your camera to come on. I'm thinking, hey. Well, this is all. I tell you, is it Mercury retrograde? Is it? I'm being serious, chat room.
Check it.
I'm going to have to check. I'm going to check it. I tell you, it feels like it. From a guy that never ever... Mercury retrograde 2021.
My brother had vehicle issues.
January the 30th to February the 21st.
Oh, what a coincidence.
So
What a coincidence.
So yeah, he who laughs at retrograde usually ends up in tears.
Yeah, he who mocks retrograde feels the wrath of retrograde.
Yeah,
Definitely. It definitely feels retrograde-y.
Now, a big thank you to everyone out there in YouTube land. Big thank you for being here. This is obviously our simulcast, so sometimes it'll maybe seem a bit weird when me and Scott start like maybe describing images and things. You'll be thinking, yeah, I can kind of see that, Kev. But then you got to bear in mind we've got the radio audience and TalkStream Live and
we got the radio audience, and we have Naysay too. We have to describe stuff for Naysay because
didn't even how idiotic of me. Didn't even really think about that one.
Yeah. But I mean, but yeah. So, no, man, it does feel retrograde-y. It seems like there's been a lot of wrenches thrown into things lately. So hopefully we get through retrograde okay. And speaking of the 21st of February, Mr. Lopez here will be turning 38 years young on the 21st.
How young?
38.
Oh, to be 38 again, dude. Oh, to be 38 again.
I don't feel 38. But
you don't look it either.
I say you're only as young as you feel.
A very baby-faced looking 38, sir. Very good. Most people would want that.
People have always said I look younger than I actually am.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
But my body doesn't feel 38. It feels like 80 freaking 9 or something like that.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see if it works this time. Oh no. Here we go. I thought we'd added Kevin again. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and Nacy. Are you back with us, Mr. Nacy? No, not yet. We're back. We're live. Scotty Lopez, Nacy, myself, Kev Baker, and we're getting into Niburu. And during the break, we found out what we probably should have known some weeks ago, and that is that we're still in Mercury retrograde. And you know what that does to technology, and you know what it does to people like me and Scott that have laughed about it in the past. More fool us, Scotty boy. I hope we've got the man, the myth. Our Initian Abbey brother is back with us. He's live. Nacy, save us from Mercury retrograde, dude. It's gone horrendous, man. Is he back? No, he's not back. Oh, there he is.
Am I back?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Am I back? Am I front, up, or down? Here we go all around. One thing or another. I didn't know it was Mercury in retrograde that was causing me all the challenges.
Until Sunday, dude. Yeah, until Sunday. We've got one more day.
I thought it was my bustier that was causing me such a disruption.
What is it with that Mercury retrograde, Kev? Do you know much about that? What causes, like, why is it such a big thing, man? What's going on, dude?
My speculation on it is because Mercury is so close to the sun that because of its magnetic push and pull, that would be also with the sun. When the sun is having one of its mass ejecta of solar radiation, then with the manipulation of the magnetic push and pull of Mercury, it could cause it to go out further. And so then with those solar ejecta going out further into the solar system, then it can affect our electromagnetic.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's something along the same lines, because usually retrograde it's when Mercury is moving in front of the sun, right? And then the more mainstream sort of explanation of retrograde is they said it causes some kind of an optical illusion where it looks like Mercury is retrograding backwards or something like that. But I'm thinking more along the lines of when it's in that alignment, you're dealing with some kind of an energetic, I guess you could say, when I talk about like cosmic ley lines or something.
You're bang on in my opinion, because remember there's that kind of magnetic ropes that they describe them as that go between the sun and the earth. You know, so I would say I'm going with you boys on that.
Yeah, it's a conjunction and it's aligning energy, you know, solar energy, and I think it's wreaking a little. It's boosting that. It's kind of boosting that solar activity, and it wreaks havoc with electronics. And
see, this is fantastic. I can make myself sound brainy by going third in the conversation. I can just say I agree with these two guys.
That's what I used to do, man. You just, hey, look, that's my role. Whenever I would do the shows with Everard, you just sit back, and then after they get done explaining something, you just go, yes, I totally agree, and you know, blah blah blah. You just put in your little 2 cents, and
yeah, I'll just segue it back to the brains of Kevin and Scott. This is brilliant. Kev,
hopefully at least one out of the three of us could be right in some perspective.
Well, that's very, very true, Kevin. That's very true. They'll end up calling this the broken clock show, because maybe when we're lucky we get it right twice a day. But listen, dude, big shout out to Renzo, is that right, for putting together the slides today?
Yes, absolutely, and it was a delight working with her, and I hope she can get a good heap of dopamine fix with the assistance. But as we're talking about Nibiru and the whole what happened, so to kind of generalize it all, there was a big cataclysm that caused what is now known as the asteroid belt of a planet collide or explosion, creating the asteroid belt. And from this, either from the collision or from the explosion, that the core of this planet was then sent out into the solar system at a different ellipsis than the rest of the planets. From that occurring, Mars got a little adjusted in the calamity of it, and allegedly one of the satellites was thrown towards the sun, and lo and behold, the Gaia was in its pathway, and there was the collision. And this is where that slide is of the Ring of Fire, showing that, interesting enough, it is a circle. And if you look at the moon and its incredible, miraculous position to where it is sitting exactly between the magnetic push and pull of the Earth and the magnetic push and pull of the sun, therefore causing that perfect eclipse where the corona of the sun and the moon almost looks like an eyeball.
And of course, it's just a coincidence that the moon happens to be the right size as well as the right distance. It's all just randomly perfect, right?
Exactly. and so then this cataclysm occurred, and Nibiru is on this ellipsis and this cycle where every so many speculation years that go by, that it occurs. And then when we look around the world at all of these different indigenous people, we find out that there are similar tales. Now, I wanted to suggest there's a really good Zachariah Stitchin documentary out there called Are We Alone? That kind of gives a much better description than what I'm giving it. But I'm going to agree with the two of you about how right or wrong is Zachariah Stitchin, because Speculation Island, I believe that Zachariah Stitchin was told what he is allowed to transcribe and share with the public, because if you ponder it, what would happen to the continuity of government if we were notified that, hey, next week, Nibiru is going to be coming by. And it just might mess things up a little bit.
What I think is because it's not going to be like it's here tomorrow. This is going to be a gradual event that takes place over a long period of time. But I think, the powers that shouldn't be, or the people in the know this, and they're planning ahead, right? How we talk about they think in 100, 200 year kind of time frames. Who's to say they're not already like prepping the ground and getting ready for the eventual return of this thing, even if they're not around to see it. You know what I mean? But they know that it's coming in the future, and they want to already go ahead and kind of set the groundwork to prepare the population, if you will, or the whatever for that. So
plus we could speculate that in some of the documents that the public don't get, guys, the kind of stuff that you hide away in the ancient mystery schools you hear about under the Vatican, maybe the record of these cataclysms are far more clear, on top of what Zachariah Sitchin's uncovered as well,
Yeah, that's interesting because we were just talking about the Vatican archives and what could possibly be down there. Me and my mom and my brother were talking about that before the show, and yeah, I mean, maybe they have this is all of that like occulted knowledge and stuff where they understand that there's this cycle that occurs, and just like with any other group, the priesthood or whatever, if you want to call them that, all the way from the Aztec and Mayan times, they understood the celestial cycles, and they used that to their advantage to control the population, right? If you don't give me your firstborn or whatever, I'm gonna make the sun disappear, and and they understood those events, but the general population, was naive and ignorant to it, so they thought it was some kind of magic, So, it's definitely interesting, and also makes me also wonder, when Nase was describing, this cataclysmic event, this chaos that occurred throughout the solar system, and that these planets were thrown off kilter or maybe even thrown from their orbits. Another thing that I have always kind of wondered ever since I started looking into this is what if we'll since we're out on Speculation Island, let's say
Speculation Planet.
Yeah, we're on Speculation Planet, baby. Yeah. That's where we're at. What if Mars, hear me out here, what if Mars was in Earth's orbit and was thrown out to where it is now, and Earth was located in a different place, and it was thrown to where it is now? So,
and even, Scott, on one of its other times coming in because of the cycle, maybe it just happened to come by Mars, where Mars is now. Because I was listening to one guy today on Russia Today, and he's got a theory that when he looks at the surface of Mars, he could make a case for perhaps maybe some kind of nuclear war in the past, like way in the ancient past, or some cataclysm that wiped things out. And well, cataclysm wiping something out, could it be this rogue planet that came through one time, and maybe every 3 cycles it gets us? I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe maybe every time it comes in, that there's a planet that just happens to be the unlucky planet that feels the wrath of it.
It'd be quite weird if it happened to coincide with our orbit all the time. But then again, you could say, well, if it comes that close to the sun, maybe it just wreaks havoc anyway. Who
knows?
Can we go deep, brothers?
Kevin, we insist that you press the elevator down to below the basement. Take us down the deep underground complex here.
So as we, the world, looks into these asteroids, We have now just recently have been able to land on an asteroid and retrieve samples, and these samples are coming back. Well, as we also bring rovers to Mars, there's a lot of people that are like going, if you're really looking for life, Cydonia, if you're really looking for life, the face on Mars, if you're really, Richard Hoagland, if you're really looking at life on Mars, why would you drop a rover in the center of a crater?
Because it was once an ocean.
Well, you also want to be at, advantage is height for line of sight. But if you land in the middle of a crater, what will you find in the middle of that crater? More likely a meteorite. So if you can find this meteorite and you can test that meteorite and you can collect all the data from all of the other meteorites, and then you find out that they all are a composition of the same planet, then we can make better theories instead of all those speculations. So it then validates that, yes, there was this planet. Yes, there was this explosion. Yes, this happened. And these ancient cuneiform are absolutely right, because knowing is half the battle for power and control.
Yeah, I must admit though, I do like the kind of, the idea about the Mars mission's attempt to go for proving something having been there, The location's meant to be, what was it described as today? I heard one of the NASA cats, if there is life on Mars, then that's the most likely or probable place that we'll find it. And the whole kind of leaving the samples out and taking them back home at a later date, and just kind of crazy stuff, man. I don't know. But I get what you're saying as well, Kevin. Yeah, we are landing on asteroids right now. And we're at this... Again, this is why I'm excited. Despite everything going on in the world, I'm like a kid on Christmas, because we're getting all this discovery. We're finding out so much more faster and faster all the time. And for me, it feels like what we're just about to blast off. Like you were talking about last night, Scott. Interplanetary style,
We're rapidly accelerating in that direction, I think, and I think we're a lot closer to it than what people, think. And I think a lot of this also has to go to, we talk about a lot of the hidden technology and how they're like probably 30 to 70 years ahead from what the general population has been shown. So, when it comes to stuff like ion drives, or even these crazy, was it the EM drive that's been kind of
I was listening to this today, and I think this actual Perseverance has got some kind of nuclear propulsion in it.
It does, yeah. I saw a picture of them loading it in there, a bunch of guys in protective gear loading some kind of a glowing blue thing into the
not good. There's still a part of me though, like Kevin said, and we touched on it last night, Scott. Like if I had Yuri Milner's money, when I talked to Dr. Brian Keaton the other day, he was talking about Yuri Milner and Avi Loeb going after Alpha Centauri with micro kind of drones that they're sending up there. He was talking about the millions of dollars they're spending on that. And he was saying he would have tried to chase Oumuamua, the big asteroid that they thought was some kind of alien probe. But I was thinking to myself, if I could get Yuri Milner to finance some kind of project, I'd be with you, Kev. I would want something to go and land right next to that Cydonia location. Because for me, you start to get away from microbial life, and you start to get into the potential for man-made or alien-made structures, right? Things that definitely, on first glance, don't appear to be too natural. So I'm with you. I would have gone for Cydonia, Kev.
Sorry, I'm not as quick on that mute button today.
All good, brother. All good, man.
Well, even to, oh wow, it's funny the synchronicities that are occurring, because when you start looking at these apocalypse, how would Jimmy say apocalypse?
Apocalypse. I can't do it, Jimmy. Only Jimmy can do the apocalypse.
Apocalypse. Yeah.
But I'm sorry. But when you look into this, of course, you come up with Immanuel Velikovsky, The Ages in Chaos, The Worlds in Collision. And it's crazy because yesterday, as I'm listening to the two of you in your show, the Kev Baker Show, Monday through Thursday, on Truth Frequency Radio.
I am, see?
All of a sudden, you guys start talking about the mammoth tooth.
Yeah, that's right, man.
I open up my Immanuel Velikovsky World in Collision audiobook that I've had for years, and they start talking about the woolly mammoths found in Siberia.
See, this is weird because me and Scott were getting synchronicities yesterday. He was just unwittingly leading me into every story perfectly.
It was like I was unknowingly segueing into every new topic that Kev had pulled up in his tab, and it was starting to get kind of spooky.
Admittedly, I did have about 80 tabs open. No, I'm only joking. I gamed it, Scott. I gamed it. I set it all up, man. But no, listen, Kev, let's get back into your presentation here, eh? And remember to, if you've got a note of when to move on to each slide there, it'd be perfect, man, okay? We're on the Ring of Fire one right now. I know that.
Yeah. And so, unfortunately, that was one thing why I wasn't quick on the mute, because my notepad went somewhere else, and I was searching for it.
Has it gone rogue? Has it gone rogue?
It has gone rogue, and I've been searching. So then I believe after, go ahead and jump to the next slide.
That's the Hopi blue star, my friend.
Oh, yes, the red and blue Kachina. This is, as I brought up Immanuel Velikovsky, and his searching around the world of these indigenous people talking about these events, these cycles occurring, myself, and I guess it's a little ethnocentric as a Native American, I've learned of some of these prophecies of the indigenous people in North and South America. One of them is the red and blue Kachina. The Kachina of the Hopi people are a teaching tool. And I think one of the most famous, one of them is like Kopapelli. And in the blue and red Kachina, they talk about this epic moment of time. And then you look at these Native Americans of the Southwest, and they talk about how at one point they went underground, and it was the ants or the insects that told them that, hey, it's okay, it's time to come back and revisit the surface. And it's really interesting. I think on that slide, if it had a quick 2-3 sentences on it.
It sure does, Kev, it sure does. It says the blue star Kachina, a spirit from Hopi mythology that will indicate the start of the new world by appearing as a blue star. I remember when Elenin was flying around, was that the Kachina? We've had a few.
And it also says up in the corner there, it says, many will appear to have lost their souls in these final days. So intense will the nature of the changes be that those who are weak in spiritual awareness will go insane, for we are nothing without spirit. There's a lot of insanity going on today, my friend. I'm just saying. It seems a little cray-cray. A little cray-cray out there. A little cray-cray.
It's almost as if the Blue Hopi Star prophecy, Kevin, whoever really wrote that down or envisioned all of this, They may have been looking at a future social media feed and talking about people losing their minds and their souls, you know?
Well, also, if you look at the economic stress that people are having and they don't have the finances to make ends meet, a lot of people are needing to replace their shoes. So technically, people are losing their souls.
Oh, I like it, man. I like it. I like it.
So I guess we can go ahead and jump onto the next slide, Kev, if you would.
Oh, a familiar image, my friend. Yep. The Mayans, Kevin.
The Mayan calendar.
This in itself, the 2012, I was a prepper. I am I can't say that. I'm not going to confirm or deny that one. But when Y2K happened, I was to the walls ready for whatever was about to come by. I was so deep into the Y2K, two Kevins. Why? But
because we can. So because we can.
Absolutely, I have a flag. But I was so worried about Y2K, and I'll give a little backstory. In Minneapolis, where I was, most of my stomping ground days were there. I used to hang over with my buddies, and I can't confirm or deny the PPP that we shared, but I was the conspiracy expert. And he had a couple shady characters there, and he was teasing me. He would always rib me. He'd be like, tell these guys about Y2K. And so then I shared with these two characters about the potential of things just going chaotic, and thinking the response was hopefully kind of kumbaya. One of them said, oh my God, we could kill whoever we want, was the first thing he said.
That's dark. That's dark.
Oh, man.
And here I am now at the moment of using my wheelchair 75% of the day. I'm thinking I have victim just stamped on my forehead. And there's no way I would want to be in Minneapolis, because next thing you know, I started having dreams of Minneapolis burning and riots in Minneapolis. And ironically enough, in the spring, with what occurred in the state of confusion, Minnesota, people were calling me up and saying, do you remember when you were telling us about Minneapolis
We've got a super
burning?
coming in, Kev, sorry.
Leona Hamilton donated $4.99 through Super Chat. I have a beautiful small red cachina.
Nice. Thank you, Leona.
Yeah, so people were calling me up, and they were reminding me about my tales of Minneapolis burning and riots in the streets, and it did freak me out when it did occur. So the Mayans in 2012. Oh, I needed to go back real quickly. Y2K. I think speculation that it was a psyops, so they could know who's going to prepare to come back after the break.
Exactly. We'll be right back, folks. Hopefully, let's see if it works this time. There we go. There we go.
There we go. Dude, I remember the Y2K stuff, man. I was in high school when all that was going down.
Well, you've been a little computer buff, and I would imagine back then. What were you thinking, dude? Were you worried, or were you too young? Were you kind of young for it? Try to think. No, you'd have been a decent age.
No. I was like a junior in high school when all that was going down. And no, I was just getting into computers. I was just starting to teach myself some coding and things like that. And yeah, the Y2K thing, I was like, oh man, but then I had actually read some if people were to actually take the time to look into it at the time, you would see that it wasn't as big of a deal as they were making it out to be, that they had patched most of the critical computer systems that needed it. It was just like a simple BIOS update or something that they needed to do to tell the clocks to, hey, keep going,
I was working security that night, and at no point was I worried that things were,
my friend down the street, his dad was full on, like it was going down. He was making my friend sit on the roof of his house with let's just say with a pew pew, if you will. He was sitting on the roof of the house, and he was telling them, engage anybody that comes in the yard if things go down. You know, that
Pew
kind
pew
of
on site.
Yeah, pew pew on site. And his garage was filled with bottled water and all kinds of crazy stuff. And of course, nothing ever happened. But yeah, some people were taking that, you know, they were going all in and prepping. And so
Whoa, Jimmy Jeans, sorry Scott, Jimmy Jeans, number 6 on TalkStream. Jimmy, he sits there watching the charts on TalkStream. I think that's the front page, dude. That's pretty significant stuff, you know. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. To hear me and two geniuses. I'll tell you.
Jimmy's like that dude in that movie. I don't know what. He's like, you got to pump those numbers, man. Those numbers aren't high enough. Got to pump them up.
Yeah. I think that's it. We're missing Jimmy, the producer, just to fire a rocket up us, man. And
you know what? If I was ever to be a professional wrestler or something, right? I want Jimmy to be my hype man. I want either Jimmy Jeans or Kenneth Webb to be my hype guy.
Oh yeah, man. Get the two of them in on it, man.
There we go. Yeah, see? They could totally do it, man.
You know Snoop Dogg was like wrestling a couple of weeks back, Scott? You know that?
Oh no.
Yeah, he was frog splashing off the top rope. He was in with Cody Rhodes on AEW. And Shaquille O'Neal, Big Shaq, he's going to be fighting Cody Rhodes in March. I know, dude. I know. You can. It's like Shaq,
Shaq could make a good wrestler. Shaq could make a good wrestler.
Shaq can do whatever he wants. You can argue with him.
So, I mean, he's literally like, you know, Andre the Giant, but played basketball, you know, and
that's been one of the most surprising parts of Warrior Mode, dude. Getting to speak to like ex-wrestlers like the Maestro. We had Hannibal on. He's another one. He had the big WWE contract, and then he got an injury, and they kind of cast him aside. And dude, but see,
you know,
see, speaking to
when
these
I'm wrestling, I don't ever get mad.
See, speaking to these people, it's like right. I'm going to bring back the network. Here we go. Okay. The clock's a little bit off. Okay, I'm going to have to be on my toes tonight. Okay.
But the planetary alignments are a little wonky today. Mercury's doing its thing.
Here we go. We'll try it now. Just like that, we were back. Hour number 2 right here on Freaky Friday. And we are getting to the point where I have to ask, can you handle the woo? Because Kevin is unleashed. Scotty is unwound and unbound. And I'm just here to try and hold it all together, folks, as best I can. It's like that was the ringing of the Mayan bell. That was like the 2012 movie. Remember it started with the Tibetan monk ringing the bell on top of the mountain as the big tsunami comes in and all that. You know, I remember that. Now, here's the thing though. Something like an extraplanetary body flying through the solar system is absolutely going to bring conditions like that, ladies and gentlemen, and that's all the black pill I'm giving you today. We're going to be fine, I promise. Honestly.
I'm sorry for ringing the bell.
No, we like the bell. We like that.
Again.
We like that, dude. Almost like it's like an There's like a frequency to it, man. It gets us going for hour number 2. And listen, before I forget and I unleash Nacy, our good friend Brent Thomas is coming up tonight after Freaky Friday over on the Paranormal Portal.
Portal.
Yes, with Don the Longbeard. I love both those guys. And remember, keep your eye on the calendar. The next Friday, the 13th, we will be joining forces with Brent and Don for one of our 5 hours 5 hours of woo, Sky. I do love the Friday the 13th woo with the guys on Paranormal Portal.
Oh, dude, it's always good stuff. And we get into the most deep, creepy, cryptid, paranormal, just...
Would you agree that Brent is the Christopher Everard of cryptids and paranormal?
Oh,
Because he can switch topics. He can go from Slender Man to like pterodactyls, and he can go with us. He's one of the few people that can go with us, dude, when we go full woo.
Yes, Brent definitely has that where he can just switch up on a fly. You know, you throw a topic at him and he's on it. And there's not many people that have that ability to, you know, because some people just focus on one thing, and if you throw something else at them that they're not familiar with, you get them a little frazzled and they don't know what to do. But you know, Brent's on his toes. He knows his stuff, and yeah, like you said, he's like the Everard of the paranormal, I guess you could say, of the cryptid woo.
That's probably one of the highest compliments you could give somebody, that, you know.
I think so. I think it was last year or something. It was one of the last times I talked to Everard recently. Everard was getting into the Bigfoot thing.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess he never really looked much into it or but he started taking an interest in the Bigfoot thing and was you know, gearing up to do what Everard does when he goes down.
I say wow because it's not going to be the story that we've heard before. Because Chris tends to come up with his own unique idea, which is brilliant. You know, we cover theories of other people, and more often than not, you know, it goes along the same line. Interdimensional, Nephilim will come up, but I can guarantee, I can't imagine what he'll come up with, but it'll be something that we haven't heard before, maybe.
I hope he continued to go down that rabbit hole, you know, because he was making it sound like he was going to really kind of dig into that, and he had something going on, and I was like, wow, wonder what Everard's take on all of this is going to be, because like you said, it's not your even within the community, Everard always finds a way to kind of put a new perspective on it that makes you go, oh,
like the Stonehenge and the earthworks in England being like eggs and them being fertilized and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a whole different way of looking at it, and it kind of tickles another part of your brain. It goes, oh, maybe. So yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Hey,
man.
listen, Scott, we're lucky because we might not have Chris Everard with us tonight, but we've got the third amigo. It's Mr. Naysay, and he can deliver Niburu on an Everard scale. So, Kev, let us take you back to 2012. This is where I started to be. I didn't go all in on Y2K, but 2012, that was my kind of thing. Oh boy, from years out. And it was like you were saying earlier, Kev, the guys in the work would be here. Kev, what do you think is going to happen in 2012 and that? And I knew, see, after a while I could tell they were just doing it to get a laugh, Kevin, because they knew it would set me off, and I'd hit them all this news that was on the internet. But we're still here. Nothing, at least, measurable changed that day. Although now that we're a few years through it, we can see how the world's definitely changed. And I remember at the time, a lot of people said, not one day, but like a transition. And it might have started back in 2009, 2008, even earlier, who knows? But it would take time to come out the other end as well. And I can't prove that that's what the minds were talking about, but the world's changed since 2012 dramatically. I'll give it back to you, bro.
Well, absolutely, it is difficult to take a measure of it unless you know who or what your ruler is. But the Mayan 2012 also was another point of, oh my gosh. And so you dig into it. And as you stated, I dug deep and uncovered oubliettes. I know I say that word a lot, but it's one of my favorite words. Going down the holes of rabbits. And the Mayan, as an indigenous person, the Mayan people are so incredibly advanced. If you look at their temple structures, if you look at their calendar systems, plural, they had over 20 different types of calendars. And one of their calendars, that was the if you think of the microcosm to the macrocosm, from a calendar that's a minute to the calendar that is epochs to a calendar that is thousands, tens of thousands of years. So in one of their great calendars, it came up to a measurement of the date of December 21st, 2012. Now, this is what we were told, that it was not only the end of the world, but it was occurring on this specific date. Now, the Mayans, they did not have a calendar like we have today. They have a calendar that has many circles, wheels within wheels. So when all of these wheels align up, then they say, look to the left, look to the right, look up to the heavens. What a delight we'll see. The cycles are repeating themselves. And the Mayans, like a lot of indigenous people, they never were worried about death, because death was something that was taught to all ages, and you learned how to handle it. In today's world, one of the biggest fears we have, not only speaking in front of people, but death. And death was just another adventure to go on for the Mayan people and a lot of indigenous people. And so when they said, when 2012 happens, it'll be the end of the world as we know it. And in the microcosm, because change is inevitable, every moment is change, whether it's this planet hurling through the solar system around the sun, or on the microcosm that you intake and breathe out new oxygen, causing new cell division. So change is welcoming, and it's exciting, because is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? We're still living and breathing, so there's something for us to do.
I must admit, Scott, Kevin, I personally had never ever thought it was some end of the world. I'd always thought of it being, if it was the end of anything, it would be the start of something new on the other side, you know, like the cyclical type of thing. And I know there was people that were thinking, well, it could bring cataclysm, stuff like that. I wasn't one of those ones, but it's still, you know, it was still in the back of my mind. Still in the back of my mind, though, you know.
You know, I was never one of those people either to put us, but because first of all, I mean, I would say that I grew up looking at things through a more Christian perspective, right? Like, you know, my family and stuff is all of Christian faith. So I've always, you know, thought of it as, you know, when the Bible says no man knows the time and date, right? So when people automatically start putting a time and date on something, I'm like, no, yeah, I immediately, like, I discount it, you know, because I don't think anybody knows the time or the date. You know,
Isn't that also? I'm sorry. Isn't that also what Nagul in the Lord of the Rings said, that no man can kill me? And she whipped off her helmet and said, I am no man.
You know, you bring in the Bible, though, and this is another key part of a Planet X Niburu Wormwood
ahead,
show.
Brother.
Oh, sorry, Kevin. Sorry. See, we'll get back to you, man. We'll get back to you. See, on you go. Dude, I'll take that one back. Forget I said that.
I'm sorry. How dare me?
Hang on. Come on. There we go. Take it back. Come on, Scott. He got stuck there. Old Sleepy got stuck. Come on.
Well, I can't believe I stepped up to the boss and
Oh, you
pushed
have
back
to,
a little bit.
Kevin. You
I'm
have
sorry.
to, because I was actually going to say, I was going to scroll down, but then I could remember it would have shown everyone every slide ahead of time. But I thought, well, I'll throw it out there, and I'm glad you stopped me, dude. So we're going to come to...
Well, let's jump on to the next one. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, then. Next one is... Now
This
we're
is
getting
where
into...
I take a lot of pride here.
Yes. The White Earth Annual Powwow and the Anishinaabe Seven Fires Prophecy. Oh, that sounds good, Kevin.
Well, I believe also on there is some lines there. If you or Scotty could share for us.
All it says is the White Earth Annual Powwow.
Go ahead and jump forward. I think there's
the next one's
slides.
Revelation.
Oh.
Yep.
All right. I guess we could jump back then. Anyway, I brought this up before about how our powwow grounds, the way that they're set up, is in alignment with the summer solstice, from the east door and the west door in alignment of the sun's traveling across the horizon. And I would sit at the east door looking at the west door and watching the sun set between the poles of the door, Jacob and Moses, Shalom. And as I witnessed this happening since 2000, I noticed every year that the sun was setting more and more to the north, and that there is actually a change going on. Of course, you had to take a little variable because of the powwow not always occurring exactly on the solstice, and so that measurement is a little bit of skewed, but I would adjust for this factor because of the knowing of this. And it's been validated, my assumption, because the Inuits, where it made national headline news that they're talking about the position of the sun is occurring differently than in the past. And this goes back to all of these different indigenous people with their marking of the calendar, marking of the cycle, and saying, hey, something is about to occur. The seventh fire prophecy of the Anishinaabe people, also known as the Algonquian language group, they talk about it in this pivotal moment of time that we will have to make a choice as we're on what we call the Bimad Ziwe Wiyang. And this is the path, our path. And many times in our paths, we come to roads where we make a choice of which direction to head. And if we do not take discernment on that direction of course, positive things could happen or negative things could happen. And so we are on this pivotal choice. And even if you believe in the apocalypse or the uncovering of truth to affect you in a dramatic way, if it happens, every moment is a pivotal choice. So we can use these teachings of these different occurrences happening as a teaching tool for making the choice of action or words. And the Anishinaabe, like most other indigenous people, we said, hey, in the cycles, this choice is going to happen, and we are literally in it. One of the things they say in this thing is that the children will be coming to the elders asking them for answers of the past, and they'll be fogged over. They'll be asleep, as it states, and won't be able to answer these pivotal questions to our children of what is to come and how do we prepare for what is to come, minimally at least being able to find a positive attitude as we go through these changes.
Yeah. I think the Mayan calendar stuff as well, going back to the Mayan calendar, that was just a representation that we were going to go through a change and not some kind of a cataclysmic event. And even if you want to look at it from like the Christian perspective, then we're talking about like what the golden age, if you will, or anything like that. I mean, this has been it wasn't just the Mayans, it was many different cultures were talking about this shift into a new age, if you will, or a great change. And it didn't necessarily mean that it was cataclysmic or that it was going to be something that was going to, be the end of days, but it was going to mark some kind of a shift, some kind of a radical shift of some kind. And so I think that that's what's been occurring. 2012 was just kind of the general time frame, give or take years or whatever, as it progressed through there. Because now I'm with Kev. I definitely believe that we've shifted. Something has changed, and something weird is going on. Whether it be some kind of a timeline phasing thing,
on top of and above the culture war, Scott, right? On top of and above,
or like yeah. There's a lot of weird, like high strangeness going on. That's what it is. It's high strangeness going on, and whether we can chalk that up to like traversing the galactic plane, or we're definitely, there's some kind of a cycle that's going on. And going back to the Niburu thing, I mean, is it part of it? Maybe. Nase was talking about the sun appearing to set in a farther northern position than what he was used to seeing. Now, if we're talking about an object that's starting to exert some kind of a gravitational pull, whether, even if it's very minute, that will accumulate over time. And as this object gets closer and closer, it's going to pull even more. The gravitational effects are going to be felt even more. So maybe we're just now starting to see some of the effects of this thing coming in, like very subtle effects. But if you have something creating gravitational pull on the planet, it might actually start causing it to maybe tilt a little bit and affect, where the sun's, and this tilting might get even more dramatic. It's going to get more and more dramatic.
Add in the news this year, because this fits with what you're saying about the speed of the Earth speeding up, the rotation speeding up by, okay, I know it's like microseconds, milliseconds, but like Scott says, it has to start somewhere, and then it'll pick up pace,
And if we're going to look at, just the general laws of physics here, for the Earth to speed its rotation up, that means energy would have to be put into it, right? Because otherwise, you would think slowly over time, I'm talking about like millions and millions and millions of years, or even beyond, that the Earth's rotation would start slowing down over time, right? Because there's nothing putting energy into it. So for it to speed up would suggest that something is having an effect on the planet and causing it to speed up. So I don't know. Maybe we're, like I said, maybe we're just now like starting to feel the initial kind of telltale signs, or the very initial effects of something that is going to be, occurring in the future. Future affects the past, Kev. Sometimes if an event is big enough in the future, it can ripple and have an effect in the past.
I've been toying with that idea for a while, as you know, dude. That's how I've explained away some of what I see as really crazy behavior, and something in our future that literally, on a quantum kind of level, the conscious field, the past, present, future all existing at once type of thing, that then we're actually starting to pick up small vibrations, fluctuations given off by that,
But me personally, I was just gonna say this real quick. Me personally, my feeling is that we're never going to see Niburu in our lifetime. I think these gravitational perturbations and you know, that they think that there's something out there. I mean, maybe they'll find it, but I don't think we're gonna actually live to see Niburu like swinging
For
through
Life donated
our
£5 through Super Chat.
Sorry, Skyboy.
Loving the topic. Fun fact, Galactic Lacticae milk, hence our galaxy is the Milky Way. Hope to chat end times with you soon, Kev.
You know that never even dawned on me, that word magic there, galactic, and then the that's kind of cool, man. Kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we jump to the next slide?
I think so, dude. And
Yeah,
a Galaxy chocolate's lovely to eat, and no, I don't get sponsored by them. Revelations 12, my friend.
So before we jump here, and as we were talking about the electromagnetic and the polar shift and whatnot, another individual that should be brought up into the mix is, I'm going to butcher his last name, Paul Leliovet.
Yeah, I can't help you with that one either, dude. But I know the guy you mean.
His wonderful work, Earth Under Fire, you know, because as we were talking about Mercury and retrograde and how it could have a causation in the electromagnetic burst of the sun, then so would this force from this extraterrestrial entity that's out there. And then when we look more into it from all of these indigenous people, lo and behold, in one of the youngest religions that is out there, Christianity, in the book of Revelations, which, strangely enough, was argumented time and time again to be put in and taken out of the Bible. And I believe it was taken out and put back in a total of 3 times, if I remember that correctly. And this is the infamous.
It was kind of one of those. It was kind of one of those things where they weren't sure if they wanted to include it or not. Kind of like the Book of Enoch, right? And they decided, nah, we might not want to put the Book of Enoch in there because there's a lot going on there that people are gonna be like,
Spaceships and aliens, man.
yeah, exactly. So
absolutely. And then in Revelations, we have John, who was given the end of time scenario showed to him by the angels. And when we look at the Bible as its metaphors and allegories, in I don't remember, did we put in a little snippet in there of some words?
You want me to read it? Yes, I'll read it out.
Yeah,
I'm looking for I'll clear the throat for this one. I should really have a doomy. We should get Jimmy Jean's voice for this. Would be brilliant, wouldn't it? And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travelling in birth, and pained to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in the heaven. And behold, a great red dragon. Oh, I've had enough of them. Having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And then they inserted, "We'll be back after the break. Don't go anywhere. More to follow." There we go. Yes, indeed. Yes, red dragons throw up far different memories for me, ladies and gentlemen. Boom, boom. I'll get in before anyone else. Thank you. Yep.
Well,
Your listeners are going, red dragons? Don't go looking for it.
it's okay. It was wiped clean in the purge.
It was one of the few things that when I got put on the naughty step the first time, I must admit it was one of the few videos I giggled at deleting. Oh well, thank you.
You didn't feel too bad pulling the trigger on that one.
It's still one of the most viewed videos I've ever had on YouTube. Like over 250,000 views. So it was. Yep, exactly, dude. It is what it is. Look, people want. Listen, there's nothing wrong with wanting opium, guys. It's a dark, dark place out there, right? We've all. I hear Kevin giggling as well. Do you remember those days, Kevin? Mr. Ambassador, welcome to the show.
Ironically, technically, well, I guess your perspective. The college across the street from me that I did go to, Minnesota State University, Moorhead, their mascot is the Red Dragon.
As long as it's not the ambassador, you're all right.
And right in the middle of our campus, we have a two-headed dragon that used to breathe fire every evening at 6 o'clock.
Do you remember, Scott? I think you were on the conversation, were you not? Where he done it, Joe? Well, where he got me with that one. Yeah, you Kev. There's this woman. Like Gwen's met this guy, and he's like, oh, he's awesome, but it's not really my cup of tea.
I don't think I was in the conversation, but I was in the prep up to the conversation because Joe was like, Kev, I need to talk to you later about this. He's like, it's going to be good stuff, man. He's like, it's totally down your alley. And you're like, oh, yeah. You're like, I'll get a hold of him right away.
What must my mates have been thinking at work when I was telling them I was speaking to an ambassador from some red dragon family? Oh, man, to have been a fly on the wall when I was out on patrol just to hear what laughter they had.
Hey, come on. You were the guy that talked to the red dragon.
I guess there has to be a disclaimer that the words that are shared this evening have no outer influence of entities from this, there, or the other. All thoughts, I hope, are mine to be shared.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I guess if somebody wanted to make me the ambassador on the Galactic Council, I would accept that position if it would help this planet out.
If it existed. Here we go. Well,
no hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR, your protection from deception.
Yes, I need to get that noise off because that would definitely have. You see, I'm not confident with that one. I know when it's the Kev Baker show one, it triggers the copyright. There's that Howard Beale in Network. I'm as mad as heck, and yeah, that triggers it, dude. Yep. So here we go. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. We are live. I can't believe it, but we're already moving into the second part of tonight's Freaky Friday. Right here on YouTube, TalkStream Live, and of course the home of Freaky Friday. And I hope you're checking out all the other shows over at tfrlive.com. Big shout out to all the absolute legends over there in the Wookiee room. Yes, it's still standing room only. Buzzacino. Yes, what if life were actually a pre-made film called Time? And according to what frequency you were, you got to play the roles through time to eventually learn everything from all perspectives within the film. And that's why Buzzacino is one of the most interesting commenters wherever you see him turning up. Dude, what Kevin brings to rapping, Buzzacino brings to like philosophical kind of hotshot comments over in the TFR chat room. Thank you, Buzz. And tonight we are buzzing around the topic of Planet X, Niburu, Wormwood, as we're about to get into in just a moment. And none of us here, and nobody that I know of on YouTube or probably anywhere on planet Earth, nobody can tell you definitively that they have the answer to this one. I don't think. perhaps maybe one of these underground kind of, like the Vatican, maybe there's some indication there, Scott. I don't think anyone that you listen to, be it YouTube, any of the platforms, if they tell you that they know for sure something's going on with this topic, that's another reason why I got turned away from it, Scott. You know, always false promises. You know, it's coming. Oh, it didn't come this time, but it's coming. It's invisible now. You can't see it, but it's coming, Scott.
That was the main thing that kind of tainted it for me and caused me to like not look into the subject for quite a while. Is you had your people like, you had your like your Begleys and stuff out there, right? Now I don't know because I don't follow Begley or anything, but what was he on the whole Niburu thing? I'm sure he was at some point, or maybe
he
still
predicted
is.
Everything else, dude.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
But my ego will tell you absolutely all the answers, but be forewarned, I've been wrong time and time again. So I'll give you answers.
yeah, exactly. But there were so many channels and so many websites, and just that it became this clickbait topic, and everybody had the answer to what was happening, and everybody had the date to when Niburu was going to come back in. And then on top of that, you had all of these photos floating around from people's cell phones of the double suns. And they're like, look, I put a color filter over my photo and it revealed Niburu. And it's like, dude, come on. No, it's just a lens flare, man. Jeez, you were the only one standing out there that noticed a completely separate sun, and nobody else took a photo of it. I mean, come on now. And so, anyways, it was all of that stuff that just made me go, But it never. I mean, it wasn't made. It didn't make me go, oh, there is no such thing as Niburu or completely turned me off. It just
Cupcake Paper donated $1.99 through Super Chat. Topic: healing vibrational boxes.
I like it.
Okay, nice,
sweet. Thank you, Cupcake.
Thank you very much, Cupcake.
So I think it's just good that we're getting back to just kind of the meat and bones of why this is a thing to begin with, and why there actually is something to
the industry.
Yeah, you just got to cut through all the noise and filter out all of the garbage surrounding the whole Niburu thing. And there's plenty there to work with. You don't have to make it sensational, I don't think. You don't have to make it
exactly.
And all of that. It's just, unfortunately, that's what it became. A lot like the UFO topic as well, right? Clickbaity.
I almost fell for one the other day. Pentagon releases, information. It's got debris, but when you actually get into the report, it doesn't say anything of the sort. Stuff that we'd already kind of known about. But Nacy, me and Scotty digress. Will we get back to our revelations, shall we, boys? Shall we? Here we go.
Well, I think you shared. Oh no, go ahead.
I haven't got to the actual keyword yet, Kevin. I don't think.
Right.
And she brought, and this is Revelations 12:5, okay? And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God, and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should fear her there 1,260 days. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was the place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great angel, and she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time, from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out his mouth water as a flood after the woman, and he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth, and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God, and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Now that didn't actually mention the word we were looking for there.
Well, but it does. I'm sorry. I was going to say it does. It's kind of like seems like a metaphor or a,
something coming and going again.
Something coming and going, a great cataclysm, a flood of some kind. So, I mean, if you really kind of want to look at it from that point, it's definitely speaking along those terms that there's like some kind of a great event, a great change that's going to occur.
Well, if you jump a couple slides ahead and you
there we
see
go.
the
I see
images
the big
of
wormwood one. Yep, I see it.
The red dragons, and if you think of, if we think of the allegories and the metaphors that are found throughout the Bible, and it definitely makes allude to underground military bases. It makes allude to some extraterrestrial entity coming in, because if we think of a satellite or a meteorite or a comet coming close to the sun, as it gets close to the sun, we're going to see its tail. And because of the sun glimmering on it, we're going to see the refraction of light, which is going to give it the appearance of wings. And as it gets closer, depending on the proximity of the Earth, it'll cause electromagnetic static discharge to be happening, which is going to give the illusion of lightning or the fire-breathing dragon. And this is where we talk about at the beginning, where we show Godzilla fighting I keep getting his name wrong, Gigadon, the 3-headed dragon. And the dragon in itself, when you look at how the dragon or the serpent is prevalent around the world, especially in the Asian culture, China, where the dragons really have a lot with their folklore and their lure. But again, it comes back to this whole cycle that keeps occurring. And then we can jump ahead, because wormwood was another, I think that was the word you were looking for, Kev.
Yeah, but it poisons the waters and stuff like that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And if you jump one more slide ahead, this is where we find the microcosm and the macrocosm of it all. Because when you are looking for the answer, the one ultimate true answer is fields, where I mean electromagnetic fields, because the microcosm is electromagnetic fields, and the macrocosm, where these celestial bodies, not only the Earth, but our solar system, is more or less a bunch of magnets, electromagnetic spheres, or even if they're not a sphere, an asteroid in itself is part of the causation of this disturbance in the forest. Did you feel that? Anybody?
I always feel that. I'm thinking, I would gather all three of us probably lean towards electric type
I was just
theory
about
for,
to say,
space and the universe. Yeah.
electric universe. I was just about to say it. And, this ties back into what I was describing before about these energy currents that seem to link our planets. And when there's certain alignments, the energetic, these energy fields increase. It's like I said, if you think about it on the microcosm, it's like laying a power line, right? The most efficient way to get power from point A to point B is a straight line. And so, you're taught as like, if you're an electrician or you work on, power cables or anything like that, one of the first things is you don't coil up your wires or anything like that because it's less efficient. It's more for that energy to travel and it loses its signal and whatnot. So you want direct straight lines. And so when these planets and these celestial bodies align, get into these conjunctions and these alignments where there's a straight line. I would say a perfect example of that recently is the Saturn and Jupiter thing that occurred.
Leona Hamilton donated $19.99 through Super Chat.
Wow.
Awesome. Thank you, Leona.
Thank you all so much. This is wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very, 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 very many thank yous. Yep. There you go.
Chimigwich, as the Anishinaabe would say.
Never. You get embarrassed when you receive kind of stuff like that when you're doing the show, Thank you, Leona. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks everybody for real. Very much appreciated. And then going back to what Naysay was just talking about with the electromagnetic fields and stuff. This all ties in. So I'm sorry I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, you didn't, dude. No, I'm just sitting here kind of wow, just wow. Big thank you to everyone tuning in tonight. Kevin, I'm looking for the passage here. Give me 2 seconds because I want to find the actual passage where it tells you about this. There it is. So if we come over here, folks, it's Revelations chapter 8, verse 10 and 11. The third angel blew his trumpet, and a great star fell from heaven, blazing like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. And the name of the star is Wormwood. A third of the waters became wormwood, and many people died of the water because it had been made bitter. Apologies for that. And I've also heard, and coincidentally, wormwood, allegedly, because I don't speak Russian, but they talk about how wormwood ties in with Chernobyl. Chernobyl kind of translates as wormwood. Interesting. Yeah.
But I mean, from all accounts, what it's describing there is some kind of a meteor, an asteroid strike into the ocean.
Could be the thing that wiped out the dinosaurs.
Yeah, and I mean, I literally recently just watched a science thing where they were talking about all of the times that life had been pretty much almost, these near extinction events that have occurred on Earth over its, billions of years, the years that it's been here. And it was interesting because they were talking about an asteroid strike that hit and that it would have essentially poisoned all of the oceans and the waters around the planet because it takes the oxygen out of the waters and makes them toxic and whatnot. That the only life that could have existed in that environment was some kind of a very extreme bacteria that would kill anything that it ingested, and so, I mean, to me, that's just what that sounds like when you hear the description of wormwood is a cataclysmic event that causes the water to not support life, so.
Nacy, back to you, brother. Yes, Mr. Nacy. Have we lost Nacy? Have we lost? Thank you for speaking there, Scott, because your camera had gone off as well. I'm thinking, oh boy, it's just me. I'm here on my own. But no, we're all still here. Nacy, are you with us, brother? You're on mute, my friend. All muted and booted and... No.
Uh-oh, I think Wormwood got him, dude.
I think Wormwood got him. Do you think they got him, man? Did the Anunnaki come... Is he away to Sitchin's kitchen? Is he?
Maybe he's like, you know what? I need a break.
Yeah, I need a lunar burger. I'm away at Sitchin's kitchen for this one.
Yeah, lunar burger at Sitchin's kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, we could still take some of this until Nacy gets back.
Absolutely did.
But yeah. So, I mean, you have the electromagnetic field. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on with the poles. The poles right now. The magnetic poles.
Do you think we'll see the magnetic flip? Maybe not the crustal, not going for that, but a magnetic flip here in our life.
I think we're due for that, and maybe this has something to do with this incoming body. You know.
Yeah, it turns it over. Yep. Yeah,
it puts enough magnetic pull or whatever, and it just causes it to flip. So I think this is all in play. This is all a possibility. So yeah, the magnetic field definitely plays a role in all of this. And I mean, look, if we're talking about a black hole, let's just say it is a black hole, a miniature black hole. I would say that the electromagnetic chaos that would cause coming into our solar system would be crazy. Like it's gonna throw almost all of the planets. It's gonna affect them at some level. So,
what's really weird and super synchronistic. I'd put in there, black hole planet 9. And it turns out in the past 2 days, there's been thousands of articles, maybe? Well, maybe not hundreds, right? We've got the BBC, if Planet 9 exists, why has no one seen it? News 18, what if Planet 9? And what is it? Is it invisible monster, a black hole fiction? Is mysterious Planet 9 a primordial black hole? All you need to know from 3 weeks ago. Yeah, well, only 3 in recent days. I kind of exaggerated with thousands, but over the past couple of years, definitely thousands. So it's not like this is current. People are talking about this. Oh.
Leona Hamilton donated $4.99 through Super Chat.
You are, Kev.
Get away from the blazing planet niece.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I think that's what happened, Leona. Leona is in sync with our Nacy. How you doing, man?
I'm not going to confirm or deny that there may have been a little challenge there on many levels.
We were just talking before we launch you back into your presentation. We were just talking about the magnetic poles here on Earth, Kevin. And I'd asked Scott, did he think that we'll see that flip? We know it's speeding up the magnetic north towards Siberia, in Siberia. But what do you think? Do you think we'll be here for that? Or do you think this is part of the Wormwood, Niburu, Planet X, call it what you will?
Well, this is the bizarreness, because I was just about to give you guys the answers. And, of course, the powers that should not be.
See, we're good. We're good. We've got you covered, bro. We've got you covered.
See, Nacy was about to give the answers, and then he forced me to give my really horrible answer.
It's like Jeopardy, dude. It's like Jeopardy, man.
So just to let you know, I'm not gonna squeal. Okay, I'm not gonna squeal. So please leave me alone. So yeah, things happen. And I guess that's why they call them accidents, but if we look at the changes, if we take the time to collect the data, which is so incredible with these new AI or these new algorithm programs, to where they can extrapolate faster than we can. So if these telescopes are using these algorithms to search for other planets, for other extraterrestrial bodies, because at one time there wasn't the geez, I'm getting gender caught up here, man or woman power to, or all power for entities to look at all of these telescopes and their images and compare them.
There's too much data coming in for eyes to look at it back in, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so on many levels, because these telescopes will put different lenses on them so they can look at the full spectrum of color of what is occurring in the heavens. You know, so are we going to, who knows? The one thing that we do know is in Siberia, as you guys discussed, woolly mammoths were found with undigested food, like food that has just been swallowed in their mouths and in their stomachs. So how fast did that transition of hot and cold occur?
Again, I've seen 2012. I've seen 2012. I've seen how quick it happens, Kev. That's the shields going down, bro.
Look, you don't just eat something, fall over, and immediately become preserved. I mean, that's a fairly quick process. I mean,
encased in ice.
Yes, that suggests that something very radical happening at a, you know.
Unless it was a very early attempt at like caveman type cryogenics.
Or just like we have our stores and we got to freeze dry food quickly. Maybe this was the whole thing. They freeze dried their mammoth and they were going to send it down south, you know, because they had the Vermanas to get from one place to the other.
You see what I inspired by bringing up Everard and his completely unique take on things. Never have I heard of the woolly mammoth being packed and readied for shipping around. I love it, guys. Yeah.
I was just about to say only Naysay can bring the image of a woolly mammoth being transported on a Vermana somewhere. I mean, that's excellent.
I thought I was going good, even getting cryogenics in there, but dude, that was next level stuff. Love it, Naysay.
So I had to reboot on my device here, so if you could jump and share with me what the next image is.
Well, I'm going to share the next slide after the break, Kevin. We've got a couple of minutes to go, and I don't want it to cut you off. I don't even know whether to say this or not, because I'm not going conspiratorial on it, right? But bad weather conditions on the planet, could that be a sign of big changes happening?
I was just going to bring it up here in northern Minnesota. We were negative 25 degrees plus, and now they're telling us we're possibly going to have 40 degrees tomorrow.
You see, weird weather.
Yeah, that's the same thing happening here. We had negative 35 wind chills and stuff on Monday. Now, by the time my birthday rolls around on Sunday and Monday, we're supposed to be back up into like the 50s.
It was like me and Dan.
What? Birthday? This Sunday?
Yes, Sunday. Mr. Lopez turns 38. So
happy birth recognition date to you.
Another orbit.
Happy birth recognition date to you. Happy birth recognition date, Scotty Lopez. Come back
orbit
with us after the break.
Yes, indeed. We'll be orbiting around the ads, folks. It only takes us 3 minutes to orbit around the ads. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, because we will be back with hour number 3 on Freaky Friday.
Shake my head.
Naysay almost got hung up on again there, man. I'm sorry. Why does that happen every week?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I got to give a shout out to Big Donnie in the chat. He said Kentucky Fried Mammoth. Does sound good.
Nice. And Donnie.
He was also mentioning the Nazca lines earlier, yes. And I just wanted to let him know I saw that, Donnie.
Well, there's another one that AI's helped with, Scott. Kevin, they found like hundreds of new potential glyphs thanks to AI looking at just the aerial shots. Finding patterns we don't see. It's perfect for it, right? So this again ties in with what I said at the start of the show. We're starting to get so much information getting thrown at us, you know, and look, is the overload of information tying into us getting a bit more madder, though? It seems to me the more info we get at our fingertips, instead of the brighter we get, the crazier things get. Is it just me?
Oh, my insanity cannot be measured by how crazy I am.
Same here.
But do you guys remember individual by the handle Lucas? And he was going around about, you know, the coming up of the Return of the Red Dragon was his documentary. Actually, it was a lecture that he gave at that Austin bookstore that Freeman Fly came out of. Geez, I can't remember the name of it now.
Brave New
Down
Books.
there with, yes, absolutely, thank you.
Yeah.
But Lucas had a great documentary called Return of the Red Dragon, and I can't confirm or deny. I know who helped produced it back in the day.
Well, there's a lot of people that cover this topic like constantly. Marshall Masters, he talks about Planet X News. That's his gig. I mean, if you're into this stuff, there's plenty. I mean, just me. I mean, I said and Scott said earlier on, we've become kind of fed up with the clickbaitiness of it. But that's not to say that if you're into it, there's more reliable people than others to probably look at that's interesting, you know?
If the person is actually, you know, digging into, you know, the meat and potatoes of it and not utilizing it as like clickbait or some kind of
scaring you to death and then selling you a nuclear shelter at the end.
Exactly.
Like sensational claims or anything like that. But if they're just pouring, you know, looking over the information, I'm totally down for that because, like I said, I'm just as interested in it as any, you know, it's always
industry.
Interesting.
It's the industry.
It is a industry, and there are people, and this is the sad fact of the matter that, you know, P.T. Barnum's, wasn't it? He said a sucker is born every moment. And it is unfortunate that there are individuals that are, just the whole prepper world and the money that can, be witnessed funneling into that of, being prepared, which isn't a bad thing to do.
Exactly.
That's what my people, but how far do you go?
Yeah, I mean,
how far can you go?
We should be prepared for anything, whether it's something that comes in from the solar system or just a rolling blackout like Scott was talking about yesterday, So the whole prepping thing, where it's possible, because I get people are at so many different financial levels, so it's hard, to start putting things by, but where you can, when you can, it's a no-brainer. So here we go, troops, here we go. Still a bit early. The clock's just a little bit off.
Well, you know what, Kev? This is because the Earth's rotation is getting a little faster. We're now off by a couple of things. Are starting to slip out of phase here.
I think they a long time ago.
They resynced us because we might divulge too much.
Yes, the audience now are thinking, divulge what, Kevin? Divulge what? Yes. No, we're just saying, folks, we think that the whole Niburu thing, it might be incoming. We're writing off our technical glitches to Mercury retrograde, but maybe that's just because that's a more comfortable place for us to go than to go full black pill and doom and gloom. No, I'm only joking. But Kev is educating us today. He's refreshing some of us as well that have looked into this and giving us his own unique take and opinion and his background from, things that he's looked into for years. So we're getting a kind of crash course if this is new to you, and a refresher if you've already been on this train before. And Scott, before we hand it to Kev, I'm glad we went here because, it has been a while. It's been really, really fun to kind of get back into all tonight, without making any big claims or looking at something saying, is it not? Just going over the whole thing, is it a thing? Is it worth looking into?
Yeah, it's totally worth looking into. And, I think what really kind of got my interest, reignited back into it was when all of that Caltech stuff came out, with them finding, Planet 9, and then the fact that, Pluto was demoted and it was no longer a planet. And if Pluto still was actually the 9th planet, then this object that they believe is out there would actually be Planet X, Planet 10.
2016 that was, Scott.
And
2016.
Yeah, it was 2016. I remember when we first covered that, and I could tell me and you both kind of got that twinkle back in our eye back for Niburu, because we're like, look, that's a little more confirmation. And now we got mainstream science kind of going, hey, there's something out there, but we don't know, and all of that. And it just kind of reignited that in me, because by the time 2016 was rolling around, I was pretty much done with the Niburu stuff. I mean,
after 2012, I think I was done with it.
Yeah, deep down, I knew there was something there to it, but there was so much noise and so much around it. You couldn't even really find a legit source of somebody that was actually going to give you, information about it without making some kind of outrageous claim or something like that. So no, I'm glad we're back on the topic. And like I said, look, we went through half the show. And we don't have to make these outrageous, sensational claims that the world is ending, and we're not putting dates on anything or anything like that. We're just getting down to why this is a thing to begin with, and what's the meat and potatoes behind it. And when you look into it, yeah, there's something there. There's obviously evidence that there has been these cyclical events that have occurred on the planet, and
makes me wonder, Scott, if there's almost a little harken back through our ancestral DNA memories.
So
we've lived through these before.
Like we know, we know. I also tie this to the reason why we feel this deep urge to go to Mars.
Yep.
Like, why is it that humanity has this urge, this unexplainable urge to go to the red planet? And I think it's because it's our ancestral DNA saying, you need to come home. That there's something familiar about that place that we want to go and explore and go back to it. So it's probably the same thing with this Niburu thing. It's like we know that there's this cycle that's going to happen. We can all feel it. We don't know how it's going to play out. And we don't know we don't know how or when it's going to play out, but we know that something is going to happen.
So if we go ahead and jump ahead,
we're there, brother. We're there.
So all of these around the world, there are these sites that more or less tell us that civilizations have rose and civilizations have fall. And as we ponder this apocalyptic future or past, where are we at? Go ahead and jump ahead. And this is the sad
Kevin,
part.
I can't jump ahead just yet, because you have me intellectually aroused at the sight and the sound of Göbekli Tepe. It's included in your little images here, and I always have to pause when I see that sight, because that, for me, that's a big game changer. Big game changer when you start to find out about Göbekli Tepe, the dating of it, the fact that we've merely scraped the surface, pardon the pun, 10% at best we're looking at. That there, I really could do shows on that place forever and still come no closer to knowing what the hell was going on, who built it. And this goes a long way to supporting other theories, likes of Graham Hancock, who has always said there's been a predating civilization advanced before of the time that we're told the pyramids were built and stuff like that. And, well, I offer you exhibit number 1 and our main piece of evidence to back him up. Sorry, Kev, you got me excited there. It's Göbekli Tepe, dude.
Right. Well, that's absolutely true. And as we look at the maybe industry of apocalypse, which is just basically the unveiling, the re-examining of your paradigm or your dogma that you're caught in. And it's such a dramatic shift of the norm that it's sometimes hard to swallow.
2 seconds, Kev. 2
Leona
seconds.
Hamilton donated $4.99 through Super Chat. Happy birthday, Scotty. Have a drink on me.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Leona.
Yes.
And will do.
Thank you. So this industry of this happening, not only is it an industry, but you can also speculate how it can be a control mechanism. Because if we are not informed of all of the information, how are we able to prepare for the possibilities of the unknown? And we give it complacently to the governments around the world to protect us, take care of us. But what do we do for ourselves? So it's shown there in the past that things has occurred, but where are we right now? And this is where we can jump ahead on the slides there.
Okay, I'm looking at Teotihuacan. I can't say the next one. Tejozingo. And Easter Island, I can get that one, dude. And we've also got below that Pompeii.
So this is just examples of our history or his story of what has occurred. Go ahead and jump ahead to where this is kind of the bummer part of it.
Is it Pollution Islands?
Yes, but this is the fact of the matter. And you can continue moving forward with the slides.
Okay.
This one I kind of want to do a little quicker, but it's a reality check. All you miraculous perfection of unique individualisms of what is happening as we are talking right now.
And for the radio ones, it's very striking because we're looking at deforestation that's taking place as well. The fossil fuels. I'm with Scott. You can't just automatically, just instantly cut them off and things. I mean, I think we can all admit we could have taken far better care of our planet. But it's good now that we're getting technologies where we can start to kind of, if we do it right, folks, there's a right way to kind of do it. And
you can't just snap your fingers and go from one to the other. This is going to be a very long process of phasing out.
And I don't think you can entirely get rid of that, Scott. I think the two kind of should,
I personally, my personal opinion, I think you should be able to balance the two together and utilize, solar, wind, or whatever, alternative methods are out there, but they need to supplement what we're utilizing now, because we just can't cut it off like that. That's going to be too detrimental to so many people if you just do it like that. But no, we have to be better stewards of the planet, no doubt. And
then we're on to one that says boom. Oof.
And I see a very, very, distraught T-Rex there. Yeah, poor guy.
Well, if you can, it's just kind of validating about the possibilities or the probabilities of what is happening and could potentially happen in the future.
Let's look at the asteroids lately, Kev. I mean, usually we hear about them the day after they had a close miss, right?
Yeah.
Well, the formula that's been presented is for every one that they see, over 100 were missed.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oopsie.
And so to be off that much, is detrimental, especially if you look at the electromagnetic acts, the anomalies that are occurring, that if this entity is out there, this satellite or whatever you want to call it, it will affect the different asteroid belts. causing change, which will let them come a little bit more frequently. And if we are not setting up for a way to prepare to combat these, Space Force, the Space Invaders has finally come. And I don't remember, what was that missile command? Is that what Space Force is? So hopefully we now have that technology of, if they get too close, we can give them a good zap, or use the Hadron Collider to create an electromagnetic field that would just bounce it off the Great Shield. Thank you, Nicola.
Well, I mean, look, we could definitely, make some connections to Niburu with this, because if you have a celestial body that's coming in, getting closer and closer and to entering the solar system, right? Any asteroids that are out there, anything in the asteroid belt, anything around us is going to be affected by that. And, maybe, you got to wonder how much cosmic debris is being dragged along behind it as well. It's going to throw a lot of stuff around in the solar system, and you're probably going to see an uptick in asteroid activity, meteor activity. And what have we been seeing lately, right? I mean, all we have to do is look back to Chelyabinsk, Russia, where that meteorite flew in and it causes that huge concussion wave, sonic boom that injured people and it blew windows out. And there have just been so many kind of a lot of these sightings of shooting stars and meteors and stuff that you always see in the news all the time now. So it definitely looks like that there's like a pickup in cosmic activity on that front. And going back to how bad we really are at finding these objects, I'm gonna make you feel even more comfortable with regards to that. The only asteroids that we can see are asteroids that are facing, like, we have to be facing away from the sun and looking in that direction. So any asteroid that may be coming in from the direction of the sun, we're never going to see it, because we have to point our telescopes away from the sun to see asteroids. So when you're talking about that percentage that we actually find, you're talking about a percentage within probably like a 50% range, because anything towards the sun, we're never going to see. We're never going to know about. And so, yeah, I mean,
I wonder, Scott, though, just I picked up on you late there, but the James Webb telescope that's going up soon, I mean, people who haven't checked this thing out, it's amazing. And I wonder what they might detect with that thing up there. This is to take over from the Hubble and stuff, so,
Yeah, because I was telling Naysay, going to the Niburu thing, you got to wonder how much cosmic debris this thing is dragging in with it, this celestial body. And even
Clyde
then,
Lewis, he calls that the sweeper effect.
The sweeper effect. And any of the asteroids and everything that are already floating around in our solar system, when this thing comes barreling through, it's going to throw them out. It's going to fling them in all kinds of different directions. One thing we don't
talk about is what it does to our moon, Scott, Kevin. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the picture here, Kev. I mean, the moon, where do we go from here?
Well, this is the thing, the delicate balance, as we were talking earlier when we brought up the moon and its precise position of where it is. So what happens if it gets nudged too far, too close? And as I've shared, when I go crazy about the moon, because I am a moon child born right at the beginning of the summer of love, hippie, I'm a hypocrite. But as I've stated many, many times, there is a difference in the cycles of the moon where we've shifted a day and a half and we kind of go back and forth about a half a day now as I continue to pay attention of what's going on with our moon. And it goes back with this whole what's going on with the planet right now. The jet streams are kind of a weirdness out of alignment. Could this be the electromagnetic shifting of positive and negative of the North Pole and the South Pole? Could it be tectonic plates shifting? Speculation, of course.
I think the electromagnetic field has a major effect on like wind currents, like jet stream, like you were just saying, Nisei. And if the electromagnetic field starts to shift, then the jet stream is going to start to shift with it, right? And that's kind of like why you're starting to see a lot of this like Arctic cold air diving farther south than it really, than it has in the past, and a lot of weird kind of things going on with that.
Well, also, to add on that, Scotty, when I was paying attention a lot to the weather, and you look at these jet streams, it is incredible when you realize that in the fall, depending on how the jet stream hits the top of the Rocky Mountains coming from the Arctic, will absolutely determine almost the entirety of your winter. Because if it originates going to the west more than to the east, that can be a good 10 to 20 degrees difference in your winter time.
It's really amazing the contrast in temperature and the very short like distance you have to go from going from mild to like sub-zero Arctic temperatures here in the Midwest. And yeah, you're right. I mean, those Rocky Mountains play a huge role in that. I mean, the Midwest of the United States, you have to think of it as a giant bowl. You have the Rocky Mountains on one side, and then if you go farther east, you end up kind of like having the Appalachian Mountains and the higher terrain of the east. And we're just kind of a bowl. And so all of the cold air will spill down through the middle of the country, and it gets kind of held here. But yeah, that jet stream is a major factor on where that cold air goes. And it seemed like it's been kind of out of whack lately. Even I've noticed I've been having kind of a hard time gauging what it's going to do in the spring. I thought we were going to have a really bad tornado season last year here in the Midwest, and we barely got anything. And all of the tornadoes and stuff stayed down in the southern states, like around the Gulf of Mexico. So,
when a guy by the name of Storm Vector can't work storms out, I
know it was weird, because I mean all of the things were pointing to it. And so I don't know. I mean there's a lot of weird anomalies, I guess you could say, going on. And speaking of anomalies, Kev, I just saw recently in the news they were talking about that anomaly under South America, the magnetic anomaly.
The South Atlantic anomaly.
I think South Atlantic anomaly. They've been talking about that. And
there's actually a lot of papers. You probably heard it on Suspicious Observers, because that's where I heard it.
I saw it. I saw it on some mainstream.
He added it because it's like there's a whole heap of studies about magnetics, magnetic fields, how the animals react to them, how the Earth reacts to them. They're looking at the kind of You'd know the kind of map if I've seen it. It's like the core of the Earth, but then it's got the kind of mountainous regions that come off it, and he's going into all this stuff. So this is what scientists are really kind of looking into. And again, you add in the AI looking at this vast amounts of data, and we start finding out more.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Yeah, the technological advancements that are occurring is absolutely a double-edged sword. When we come with the data, we make our speculations. Is it the best for all of us, or is it the best for the elitist? Staying there with the speculation island or planet, we have these nuclear refineries, And all of a sudden we find out that more or less we need the nuclear waste from these refineries to now help power these new technological advancements. So it makes me ponder, is this all by design? Is this all by plan? Because the powers that should not be know from looking at all these ancient writings, these ancient petroglyphs, hieroglyphs, and they compiled all the data, and they said, oh, you know what? This March 22nd, 322, is going to be the next.
Nobody knows the day, dude. They might think they do, but nobody knows the day, man.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I threw that date out there just because
I know you did. I know, because that's one of our power numbers, and we love to get the gematrists going out there. Gematric
Yes.
gymnastics. I like that term, yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Right, we've got lovely, cute little foxes and giraffes. I love a giraffe. We've got little monkeys, little pigs, little kittens. Oh, dude, this is all like lovely stuff to be looking at. You don't see enough of this. I'm gonna stream a week. I'm just gonna look at kittens and little animals just to kind of neutralize some of the doom out there, man. You know?
Well, yes, this is exactly why I wanted to throw these.
Kermit the Frog.
Oh, you jumped up there.
Dude, he was my
wait till
favorite.
after the break.
Oh, he was my favorite. I remember having a Kermit the Frog for years, guys. I used to carry the Kermit around. He would go every. Listen, I'm not talking about when I was like 18 or something.
I cannot confirm or deny that after the break, we might have a special guest to come in to bring us in from the break.
Oh, Scotty Lopez as well, man. Our very own Kermit. I'm going to start calling you Kermit now.
Okay.
Brilliant.
You can call me Kermit. You can call me Kermit all you want. Okay.
Kermit, I thought
Well,
we were going to wait
talking
till
of-
after the break.
Talking to people who can do voices, our very own Brent Thomas is a bit of a master at doing the funny voices as well. I can't remember the name of the character off the top of my head who it is that he does. But he'll be coming up right after Freaky Friday. We've still got one segment to go. So don't go anywhere. And don't go anywhere after Freaky Friday, because Paranormal Portal, that's the next 2 hours accounted for if you're into the woo. And I'm sure Brent will have a whole host of topics to get into tonight. So you can stay here on TFR Live or on TalkStream Live. Or if you're over on YouTube, then you can jump over to Paranormal Portal's channel. But please remember, tell everyone you know about TFRLive.com, the home of Freaky Friday. And Scotty, looking forward to the final segment?
Oh, no doubt, man.
Been a good
because
one?
I'm
Been a
sure
good
there's
one?
More, very, very good. I'm sure there's more Niburu to get into.
Brent does Homer
with-
Simpson. I couldn't remember it. Yep, Homer. That's who he does. And he does it
You
brilliantly.
know what they say about Bigfoot?
Big shoes.
No, you'll find out when you tune into the Paranormal Portal.
Ah, I like it. I like it. I like it. Guys, I'm going to get on two chaps that ended up, one of them needing to get the services of Bill Bean involved with the Bigfoot. They're going to be coming on Freaky Friday soon. Couple of, both of them were ex-military, hunters as well. And like I say, we had them on warrior mode. And for me, this was one of the most disturbing Bigfoot or something accounts that I have ever heard of. Join us after the break for more on Freaky Friday, though, because who knows? Forget the Anunnaki. It's the Bigfoot coming in on Niburu. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And upon his back rode a Wookiee, and the Wookiee said, I'm a-coming. There we go, man.
Maybe it was Wookiee that put in that order for the freeze-dried woolly mammoth.
Dude, they might have stashed it for next time they came round. Keep them going when they arrived. It's like a cache. You know, they're going to get pissed. They're going to get pissed.
Yeah, they show up and they're like, what the hell are you guys doing digging into our freezer, man? We had this thing all stocked and ready to rock, and now you guys are screwing around with our woolly burgers, man. That ain't cool.
Not good. Not good, dude. No.
Would you eat a woolly mammoth burger if they offered it to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm one of the, yeah, if it's in a burger, dude, I'll go for it. If it sounds like outlandish or exotic, as I like to call it, I'm there. I'll give it a blast.
I just had a burger, and we just purchased 400 pounds, I believe, of meat. So
that's a lot of meat.
Yeah,
that's almost like a sperm whale's.
We bought half a cow, man. That's what we did. We bought half a cow, and
that's the way to do it, folks.
He's absolutely right. My family, we buy a half a bison.
Yeah, that's how you do it, man. That's how you do it.
I reckon there's probably laws that are in place in Scotland if you tried to buy half a cow.
Really?
No, I'm not joking.
I mean, we got a
you
big
Americans
deep freezer.
do everything bigger, man. We just buy the odd steak, you know?
Hey, look, you might as well just get it over with, and then you don't have to pay for meat for however many months you're
Have I had my ears lowered? No, I've got huge ears, man. Brass neck in the chat room. My ears have always been this size, dude. When I have my hat on, it makes it look even worse. No, so definitely not lowered.
Better for Pearly to grab hold when you were acting full of shenanigans.
Yes, well, nah, probably didn't clout me around the log enough, Kevin. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe if I'd got a quite lenient with me, maybe that's how I ended up a little bit too boisterous. Now, Algo says as well, so you need to make a US trip so we can eat smoked gator ribs and rattlesnake, brother, and a nice cold beer. Oh my goodness, man. And a Marlboro, because I had to smoke Marlboro when I was over in the US, because you have to. Yeah.
You've never had rattlesnake, have you, Kev?
No, I have not, dude. No. I would, though. I would.
My God. Rattlesnake is so good.
Is it?
So good. Back when I lived in Texas when I was little, family members used to go out and go on rattlesnake hunts. I mean, there's a whole big thing, you know, they were, you know, because you got to get rid of them little varmints, especially, you know.
Awesome, dude. That'd be awesome. I want to move there. Well, can I wait till I move to America? Not just yet, okay? Just a little bit. I don't know. I just want to wait a little while. See if things get a little bit quieter, maybe, you know, just saying.
Hey, yeah, no, things are a little crazy here in the States. It's
dialed up to cray-cray. That's why they created that new word, that new phrase. Cray-cray was created for the time that you're living in now, Scott. Yes, I'm watching the clock here, but part of me wonders, is watching the clock even...
Yeah, since we're out of phase now, and we don't even know what's going to happen.
Out of phase. What about, I'm going to ask you something quickly when we come back here, guys. Here we go.
Okay.
Add 20 seconds.
Real people, real radio.
He's not far wrong, is he? No. Eh?
No, he wasn't. 20 seconds, about right, yeah.
What I tell you, dude. Man. He's on it today. He's on it. He's on it. We're loving it, man. We're loving it. Yes, we're getting ready.
Oh, I like that background.
You like that one?
Seeing the black hole suck in.
Here we go. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. We are live. Scott got Nephilim. My bad, Scott. My bad, man. I didn't mean to give you like a big face in there, you know. Yeah. Final segment of our Planet X Niburu What's All the Fuss About show. And I couldn't have put this show together better if I had planned it. And Kevin's the one that planned it. But there's been a lot of what ifs. There's been a lot of questions asked, because that's what we're here to do, in my opinion. We don't tell you what to think. We just like the fact that we can get you thinking. And this kind of topic, this is something we can sit and talk about. It's kind of in a way harmless. Not if it's literally just coming in bearing down on us, but to sit and talk about. It's good to have different theories. You throw it about and you hear all sorts of stuff. And back in the day, guys, this is the kind of show I used to absolutely love to sit and listen to. And I just hope that that translates over to our audience today, because I'm having fun. Hope yous are having fun. Brent Thomas is going to be having fun after the break on Paranormal Portal. A quick question before we hand back to Kermit the Frog and Nacy. At the start of the show, we talked about people losing their souls, losing their minds. And I want to actually, to you, Scott, before we go to Nacy, could that literally be effect of the magnetics and things that we've been talking about? You know, literally people might just... Who knows what the effect might be, you know?
Exactly. This is another thing that I've been pondering and thinking about myself, especially since we've been talking about all of the pole flip stuff, you know, since ever since way back when me, you, and Joe first started getting into that whole topic. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, we have so many animals on this planet whose brains are, you know, hardwired into the magnetic field of the planet, and they utilize it for navigation, right? For their migratory patterns. You know, you have birds and insects and ocean, ocean life, aquatic life and everything like that. And I think probably I would say every organism on this planet is hold on a second. We've got one coming in.
99 cents through Super Chat.
Wow. Shamoli.
Holy crap. Thank you very much, Leona.
Thank you, Leona. Wow.
Wow.
That's a conversation killer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good job, Leona. Yeah. It doesn't take it takes a lot to derail us, but that will derail the train. Yeah, thank you once again. Very, very, very much appreciated. So yeah, it makes me wonder. I mean, how tied into the magnetic field are, you know, our human brains, and once the field starts to weaken or starts to change, I mean, what effect does that really have on our brains? And is that playing a role in a lot of the craziness that we're seeing going on currently? It really does seem like a lot of people have lost their minds. You know, the way people are acting, it's almost like you know, and going back to the moon, right? You know, Nacy talks about the moon. You know, where does the word lunatic come from? Comes from luna, you know, the base word, the moon, right? You know, there's always this talk in many different cultures about the moon causing, you know, wild behavior. And that's just from possibly a gravitational effect, or is it having even more of an effect than just a gravitational effect? Or are we seeing some kind of a interaction between the magnetic field of the Earth and the moon, or something along that lines? I mean, we really don't know. I think this is a field of study that is very, very that there's really not much understanding about the actual effects of the magnetic field of the planet and our brains. And so, you know, going back to Niburu or whatever, if this thing comes hurtling in through the solar system and starts throwing everything out of whack and shifting the magnetic fields of all of the different planets and all of this stuff, the effects, it's probably like a cascading effect of all kinds of different things, you know, not just weather changes, earth changes. You have actual effects happening to the brain. It's just a huge, a smorgasbord of issues that are going to be caused. And here's another thing I wondered, you know, is this what what is this, the cataclysm that could have caused the fall of Atlantis, right? High technological civilization, by all means, there should have been no reason for it to be destroyed. A lot of the well, they destroyed themselves. Okay, maybe, but what if they didn't destroy themselves? What if it was just something that they couldn't stop? No matter how much technology you have, there's always going to be something out there that's going to, you're just not going to have a solution for it, right?
Well, if it was electricity or energy like we perceive, Scott, maybe they didn't account for like an EMP type of thing that would happen here. And I'm thinking about the brain as well, Kevin, to kind of throw it back to you here. I could go full quantum on top of what Scott said in there, because you get down to the effects in the brain and you look at the work of Dr. Stuart Hameroff, and he talks about the tubulin dimers and the quantum spin. And that's where me and Anthony Patch started our presentation on D-Wave, because sitting listening to Stuart Hameroff was Eric Ladzinski, and he copied what the brain done and put it into a quantum computer, and we all know about D-Wave, right? But think about that coherence, the kind of collapsing and falling of the wave, the rising and the collapsing of the wave. And then if you have more energy coming in, your skull's only designed to take what we're used to with the Schumann resonance and the magnetic field being the way it is, Scott. So any weakening of the shields, that's more solar type energy coming in. Is that having effects on us forming thoughts? Add to that the rapid intake of info and the way we're changing how we think anyway. Naturally,
I'm telling you, it's a cascading effect.
Changes a quantum spin, dude.
It's many different things stacked onto each other, that's causing an accumulated effect, and not only that, I mean, now we have to also start throwing out the question of what kind of effect would the celestial body have on thinning the veil as it comes through as well, right? I mean, now we need to start looking at a lot of the supernatural and a lot of that aspect of everything, because if we're talking about the weakening of the shields, the thinning of the magnetic field, or it being thrown out of whack, we've talked about many times, is the weakening of the magnetic field also causing a weakening, or a thinning of the veil, where entities from other dimensions or planes of existence or whatever, it's easy for them to pass through and interact, with our realm. So that is also another thing. Or look, once again, Kev, I mean, we've seen this uptick in eye strangeness, right? Paranormal kind of activity as well, cryptid activity, all of that. Are these the warning signs? Are these the kind of initial effects of
those ripples, baby? It's those ripples. It's those retrocausality ripples, man. Renzo's in her element, or should I say her quantum state right now, because we've gone quantum with it. But listen, Mr. Nacy, you've got 20 minutes to take us from Kermit, and okay, I'm going to embarrass myself here. Pearlie's chipped in. I remember when you had your Kermit, you loved him so much. Oh, cheers for that, Mum. Embarrassment.
I love you too, Kev.
He used to make that voice when he spoke to me. Yes, he spoke to me. Deal with it, people.
Why are there so many super chats like Leona who make me feel happy inside? That's where you'll find me, a vision of illusions, because I hang out with a fun guy. Kermit, get out of here.
Is that like a fun guy, or is it a mushroom? Ah, boom, boom.
Just the tip. Or just the cap.
Just the cap, man.
Just the cap.
Kevin, take it away, brother.
So, as we ponder and we speculate the big why, and I think we could probably agree that it's no longer a if, that it is a when. And the beautiful fact of the matter is the ability to manipulate fields that we have as we witness the future being at this moment. And we look at these people that are racing to Mars. We look at individuals that are digging deeper into the mountains. They're looking into the oceans. They're looking into the deserts around the world, trying to extrapolate answers of what we can do. I personally believe differently than the powers that be, that we can handle the truth no matter what it is. It is unfortunate that a few bad apples can ruin the whole thing, but I want to still have faith in universe. I believe in universe because what is the choice in the matter? We are living, breathing entities that are experiencing these incredible moments together. And thank you so much, Kevin and Scotty, for continuing to tolerate me on Freaky Fridays. But I believe that together, through recognizing the synchronicities and knowing the potential could be bad, but the potential could also be wondrous. If we witnessed a celestial body flying past the planet at a close enough range and realize the possibility of the extinction moment, could that not help us find a kumbaya state to where we can be like, life is precious, let's be here and now, or get caught up in the fear of it all?
Not exactly. I mean, it's a situation of we can make it. We could make it a positive experience or a negative experience. And honestly, I mean, none of us have been alive to actually know what happened, right? We actually don't know what occurred.
We're guessing with maybe even, we don't even know if we've got half the deck of cards, and we're guessing, you know?
Exactly. And to Naysay's point here, you know, we're putting, you know, most people put a negative spin on Niburu, that it's going to cause a cataclysm. And I mean, I literally just got done talking about it's going to flip the poles and we don't know what it's going to do to people's brains and blah, 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 you know. But I mean, what if it's not that? What if it flies through, and what if it has some kind of an energetic effect to where everybody kind of synchronizes, you will, a more conscious raising sort of vibration or something comes out of it. I mean, who knows? We really don't know. All we know is that we're going to be entering a new age, if you will, and the consciousness of man, I believe, is going to shift. And whether it's a positive shift or a negative shift, I also think, you know, a lot of that has to do with us.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to make that decision on if we're going to make the future a positive future, or if we're going to make that future a negative future. And, you know,
I try as much as I can, Scott. I try as much as I can now to keep it away from the negging. I try not to give those asshats that do run the planet as much credit as I used to. Not that I don't think they're out there and I don't think they're up to shenanigans. It's just that I can't be bothered putting energy into them. I'd rather try and focus on the good stuff out there, because there's enough people doing the doom and gloom for us to add to, guys. And that's why I like how we kind of explore things the way we do it. We'll cover the good, the bad, the ugly, but we tend to lean on having faith in all of us, you know, getting through in the end.
Yes. I mean, you can't just ignore the bad that's happening, you know. Yeah, you can acknowledge it and all that stuff, but you can't dwell in it either, you know. So you've got to just take the good, take the bad, you know, have a conversation. And, you know, that's why I'm glad Naysay brought that up. He said, hey, well, you know, why should we be looking at this from a negative aspect? Because we really don't know. We really don't. I mean, we don't even know if this thing is actually going to come in, right? I mean, we're speculating. I mean, all of the all of the kind of evidence and information that we've looked at suggests to me that there is something, but we really don't know, and I don't even know if we're ever going to be alive to find out. That's the crazy thing.
Well, as we were talking earlier about the whole industry of it, I mean, right away when you think of the apocalypse, think about the millions and millions of dollars that are spent in Hollywood in this whole fear. You know, what's the first movie you think of, you guys, when you think of the apocalypse?
Probably 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that like either 2012 or Armageddon or there was like that whole spate of like Cataclysm movies that were made in like the late 90s into the 2000s.
I like myself a good Cataclysmic type movie. I like them ones. They're usually a good storyline, you know.
It started
Mars Attacks.
Yeah, you remember it like started in the mid 90s with like Dante's Peak, right? It was like Dante's Peak, and then there was the one where the volcano erupted under LA. You remember it was like cracking and
Earthquake.
Yeah, it was
Earthquake.
Yeah, I think that was. And then it was just like from there. I mean, you had Twister, then you had Armageddon, and it was the core.
Perfect Storm.
That was. Yep. That was just kind of the
right
thing.
now. Have you got Netflix? Are you on Netflix? Yep.
Yeah.
I can. Get on.
Scotty's a wizard. You don't even have to just.
Exactly. Scotty gets the program from the future, man. But there's one on there just now, and I gorged it. Tribes of Europa. Now it's set in 2070-ish. Something happens, and the year in that is, I think there's cyber attacks in 2027 or 2025, and then it's either 2027 or 2029. Everything goes off, and they're thrown back into the Dark Ages, and they don't know what done it, who done it, and it shows you all these different factions that rise up in Europa. And I tell you what, it's, if you're into this kind of genre stuff, I would suggest checking it out. 6 episodes, and it's compelling.
Is it? So it's like dystopic future kind of
Fallout-ish. It's really kind of cool, man.
I love it. I love anything that's dystopic future sci-fi.
The 100, that's another good show.
One thing that I always enjoy is when I watch these catastrophic movies of the end times or whatnot, you'll get a little tidbit of something and it might just spark your interest, and then you start researching into it, and then you find out that there's actual facts backing up. And it's almost like that whole thing. I think they call them Easter eggs, Scotty, in games.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I remember the TV show Lost, and this is one of the things that really reignited my love of like weird science and theoretical type physics. But you would have islands appearing and disappearing and then reappearing in different parts of the world. You'd all this absolutely off its head woo. But there was like an accompanying kind of podcast that went along with it. And they would bring on theoretical physicists, biologists, and it would always have a grounding in some theoretical or sometimes published papers, you know? And you're like, wow, man.
That's what makes the best storyline, is something that's grounded in some fact or, something that, and that's the thing with like a lot of the disaster or cataclysm movies out there. There was always like an underlying thing of, well, remember what 2012, it was Yellowstone erupted, right, in 2012. And we all know that there's always been talk about Yellowstone, and
it's gonna blow.
It could blow at any time. Yeah,
it's going. The buffalo are running away. The buffalo are moving.
You'll see the bison running down the road.
That's another one that's worn off for me,
Yeah. But all of these shows, and then Armageddon, obviously the asteroid threat, and then you had, Dante's Peak, which kind of touched upon, well, if Mount St. Helens blew, then maybe this.
One movie we really should throw in if we're going this route for, since we're here. And I've seen people talking about it as well. And the day I would like to throw out there is the day after tomorrow, where we get the
Oh, that's the one I
instant-
meant. That was
Yes.
about the superstorm.
Yes, that was the woolly mammoth one. That was the one, or a woolly mammoth type event. That was one where the helicopter just freezes over Scotland, and then you've got them all. Oh, brilliant movie. But that there, I mean, that's based in real type science. That's what could happen. And a mini ice age, for me, that's the cataclysmic type scenario. If I was to having to put money on it, I would wager on us going towards something resembling cold.
I'm definitely on board with that. I think that if we are heading into some kind of a big kind of climate sort of change, I guess, if you will, whatever, it's going to go in the direction of an ice age. And I think the perfect sort of, I think one of the main kind of indicators of this is the fact that just here over the past few years, we've been getting, you know, just like I was talking about earlier, this really, really bad Arctic cold air that has been diving farther south into the U.S. lately. And it seems to have been happening year after year. Even this year, it was supposed to be a mild winter, and it was a mild winter for all the way up until just about 2 weeks ago, Naysay, right? Because you're in the same kind, you're in the Midwest, you're in the upper Midwest, but it wasn't that bad of a winter this year until just about 2 weeks ago, and then boom, all that Arctic air sunk in.
Well, if you think of the sphere, of the Earth, and if you think of that sphere, if it was to turn 90 degrees in any direction, it would cause that super freeze to occur, because the sun has a definite effect, and for it to happen that quickly, if this entity, Nibiru, whatever, comes by and it can cause that flip, that literal flip, then all of a sudden Antarctica is no longer covered by ice and North America is, or the side that is facing this pass by. Again, the speculations.
Yeah, can you imagine, Kev? Oh, wow, think of that. Can you imagine, like, what if this thing flies through again and it reorientates the planet back to the way it was when Antarctica was in a more temperate zone? And that's the cycle. Like, the Earth gets tilted every time it flies through, and
I've been saving the punchline till the end of the show, boys. I've been saving the punchline. You want a punchline here? And a big shout out to Tim DeMar. Maybe he caught me on the Bush Telegraph thinking about this. I was going to finish off with, there's nothing to worry about here. Because I know that we have got a machine that's got a magnetic force that's 100,000 times stronger than our own planet. And I think, if you just cross a flux capacitor here with an Alice detector over there, and then wire it up to the LINAC kind of linear accelerator they've got, I think we can shoot Niburu, the Anunnaki, the Klingons. We're covered, boys. We've got the force field, man. CERN, baby. CERN.
I was about to say, are you suggesting that Earth and CERN basically act as the Death Star and just
but if I was writing a book, I would.
Or if CERN is the replication of the Great Pyramid when it had its energy source.
It could well be. It could well be. It could well be. But I tell you what, folks, maybe CERN could be for another time, because we're out of time. What is time? There is no time. Well, it is time for Brent Thomas and the Paranormal Portal. Wherever you are, make it TFR. We're out of here. Keep it real and keep it wookie. Now, Kevin.
Thanks, Renzo.
Kevin, no, don't panic. Don't panic. Audience, don't run away just yet. Obviously, we're not restricted to a clock on YouTube. So I'm going to let Kevin go over the last couple of slides here. We've got one, Kevin, this is one that shows Now, is this some kind of, is it a quasar or something we're looking at? It's some kind of crazy space type photo anyway. And then we've got like a glowing cross.
Oh yeah, that's a shout out to Renzo and some of them adding on these incredible images from space. I don't know if it's before the cross or after the cross where they show the universe eye ball.
It's there. Yep, it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember when that image first came out, I still had my sight, and that was actually one of the backgrounds for my computer.
Like the eye of Sauron.
Exactly. And it goes back to, the speculation of all of it. Why do we have so many movies that promote this fear or this whole, maybe like you said earlier, that we just have it inertly in our memory of our DNA, the desire of knowing, finding the pattern, recognizing the pattern, and knowing what tomorrow brings. And sometimes it is really sad and difficult when we find ourselves so caught up in trying to find out what the future is that we forget that we're right here in this present moment with each other. And so thanks again, Kev. It's always a pleasure.
No, thank you guys. Couldn't do Freaky Friday without the team. I remember I thought about doing a Freaky Friday solo one week. I can't remember what happened, Scott. There's no way. Freaky Friday is a conversation. It's not a monologue,
Yeah, I think one of the times when you and Joe couldn't be there, y'all threw up the thing of if I wanted to take it, and I was like, nah, you got it. It's a conversation. It's a round table, and it's not just something somebody can do solo, because that's what makes Freaky Friday Friday is everybody bouncing ideas off each other, kind of going into our own little speculative diatribes, and it's good. It's good stuff. It gets the juices flowing.
Yes, indeed. And of course, a big shout out to Renzo for putting the slides together for Kevin. Much appreciated. I had a good laugh last night. I felt like a bit of a voyeur because I was sitting playing Scrabble with my mum, but in the background I was lurking in one of the disco rooms, and it's where like mostly women go and yarn. And I don't know, dude, there's like something when you're like listening into a conversation where it's all girls. I don't know, dude, I don't know. It's a bit weird. It was good. It was interesting, but it's almost like you shouldn't be there. So I just stayed quiet. I just sat there and played my Scrabble. And myself and my mum were listening away. We were listening away to them yarning. That's what they call it. A good yarn, Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff.
You're like that creepy guy in the bush.
You see, that's the thing. I didn't want to say it, man. It's like, I don't know, there's something kind of creepy. I don't want to come across as creepy Kev, like listening into the women on disco, but... And by the way, I wasn't the only dude there. Before people think that it's no rule like it has to be only women. But again, at the same time, well, it was a creep shared because my mum was there too, which makes it even creepier sounding. That sounded way better in my head, Sitting with my Kermit, listening to the women. My word! Oh look, apples don't fall far from the tree, and they don't change much. I've got a green alien still. It's because I missed my Kermit, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it is.
I missed my Kermit.
It's your genetic memory of Kermit that is now.
You should see what he gets up to with this kangaroo when I'm not looking. I'm telling you, if this kangaroo could talk.
You know who the love child of Kermit and Miss Piggy is, right?
Wookie.
Yeah. Well, maybe the first, but the second one was definitely Yoda.
Oh, Yoda, there can be only one. Yeah. Although Baby Yoda is a very cute close second. I like myself a bit of Baby Yoda. Although I do believe the Mandalorian is gone. I do believe that that we're in danger of losing the Mandalorian over the craziness of everything going on in the world and cancellations and social media and for me, the Mandalorian has been better than even the movies. Not the original ones, but
I think it's at a point now to where they look for something that's fun and they want to ruin it.
Yeah.
I mean, The Mandalorian was probably the best thing that Star Wars, from Star Wars since like
I didn't like all these latest films. I mean, the first one's brilliant.
None of the past
Wars.
three, these latest three, these latest three movies, yes, Star Wokes, Woke Wars, something like that.
Yeah.
Luke, I was your father.
Oh, don't get us into that one. That's another show altogether, right?
Oh, someone said I'm Mace Windu.
That a good thing?
I could see. Yeah, Mace Windu. Remember Samuel L. Jackson? He was Mace Windu.
All right. See. Yeah. It's getting late, man. It's 3030. It's 0303 in the UK. Oh, it's the witching hour. So on that note, folks, I've got about 2 minutes before I turn into Creepy Kev. No, I'm only joking. I won't be lurking tonight if people are over on Disco. I promise. No lurk mode. And it's not like I was hiding, Scott. I was there. So it wasn't like I was like hiding or anything, Why am I explaining myself? I'm making it creepier. See? Well,
definitely join us. Definitely join us there in the disco.
I made something totally uncreepy. Something that people are now wondering about.
You were starting to get defensive about something you brought up, so that makes it sound more.
Yeah.
And don't forget to like.
Don't worry, ladies.
Subscribe.
Don't worry, ladies. Kev will be there. He'll be there.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe, and
yep.
Yes, if you like what we're up to here, we do this on this channel, same time, same place, every week. Maybe you're new here, maybe you don't know, but we've got the KBS 2 channel, which is the main live streaming channel, where we usually get about 60 people odds, and we just sit back, we chill out, nothing too serious. We look at some of the woo, we go over. It's like I give a roundup of the day's woo. It's nothing more than that. But you're more than welcome over there, and we even have memberships there too. Can't thank everyone enough tonight for the super chats, and don't worry, because we're talking about something significant, I'll be making sure the guys see some of that as well when that comes through from Google. So Leona, that is for the team. Thank you very much, and everyone who chipped in tonight, just so you know that. And I'll let the guys have their last say before I sign off and play our creepy music and our creepy video and take us out of here. So Scotty, over to you, because we should take the man, the myth, the naysay has to take us out. And what we'll do right now, because this worked well last week. Follow me over, folks. Follow me over, because we're gonna go to Paranormal Portal, and we're gonna raid his room.
We're gonna love bomb them.
We are gonna love bomb them. So I'm gonna drop the link in the chat room in just a second. I'll unmute this tab for a second as well.
What's he talking?
Hang on, I'll get the music off. Yeah. But the creepy music's still on.
Not even aware we've got a pop.
Bigfoot, UFOs, and more.
It's kind of close. It's like 47% of respondents are listening to both. So they're checking out the YouTube channel, which is also carried over like tonight on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream live. But they're also checking out the
there we go.
podcast, which is found on all the.
So make sure you head on over and show our good man Brent some love. Raid him, harass him. 31 people. There should be 310, 3,100. I tell you, that guy, if you're into the woo, I don't know, he's one of my favourite woo channels on YouTube. And even if I wasn't on TFR, even if we weren't on the same network, that's woo. That's great stuff.
And he puts in the work, you know. He puts in the work, just like you do, Kev. I mean, you and Brent. I mean, you put your nose to the grind and just you you guys put in a lot of work, and I don't think a lot of people realize how much work actually goes into, broadcasting on YouTube and doing a show and doing streams and all of that stuff. So Brent, definitely show Brent some love out there, people, and
I'll take him away now before he gets that. He'll get a notice from YouTube, to say that I've played a minute of his stream potentially. Yeah, and then it's up to the kind of if you've got the copyright tool, it'll ask you what you want to do with it. Crazy, man, crazy.
Well, if and when you jump over there, if you would please, as we say, Daga, please jump over there and drop a PPP and an FF, and let them know where we come from. And thank you, Kev, Scotty. As my people say, Ape Gish Bima Diziwe Wiyan Chimigwich.
Okay. Where are we? I got it.
Freaky Friday. With my woo crew.
This is where I get to play with my air guitar and my air wah-wah pedal in a minute, isn't it?
Wow, 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 wow.
Wow.
Catch you next week, everybody.